All right. And we are live. Feels good to be back on another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. It's been a minute, man. It has been a minute since we've returned. I had some mic issues and it is really my fault personally because my children tend to be on my computer and my son just bent a lot of my equipment and everything just got damaged and it just wasn't working properly. So I made sure to go ahead and get a new proper mic, and it's really nice, man. It's a lot smaller than my original blue, but it gets the job done, and the quality is pretty good as well. So, it feels good to be back once again. It's bittersweet though because I missed so much news over the last 3 weeks. I feel like a month of content I missed and didn't get an opportunity to chat about. Now I've seen posts in chat with Next Gen and them going off about news and I've listened to the VGC podcast, and these guys talk about things. So I'm kind of up to speed on some stuff. But last night was madness. It was madness. I've never had a timeline that was so funny. It was insane. People were having meltdowns. People would like celebrate. It was the craziest thing. It's like imagine your team scored the final touchdown in the Super Bowl, and then they did a review. You stepped out of bounds on that play, and they take the touchdown back, and you lose. That's exactly how it seemed last night with a lot of the PlayStation community. It was insane.
A summer of celebration that had to be walked back in one day.
It was absolutely crazy. And then on top of that, Sony messed up with some announcements, and some things launched early. It was very disastrous. It was just a mess. It was very disastrous. People were just frustrated. Oh my God, I can't wait to get into it. I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be here talking about this stuff, man. It feels good to talk about next gen. It feels good to talk about games. Football season is back.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yes.
Oh my God.
So excited for a new season, even though my team got crushed.
Who's your team?
I'm going to keep that to myself for now.
It's the Buccaneers, isn't it? It's the Buccaneers, isn't it?
No, it's not the Buccaneers.
Okay.
No. I'm a Tom Brady hater. But
you want to know something? I was my whole life, and then I saw him in that Bucks red last Sunday, and I was like, maybe he's not so bad.
Yeah, no. But it feels good to see football back. My fantasy teams I won one fantasy team and lost another, so it's pretty cool. But all right, let's jump into the show, man. We got a lot to talk about. I want to thank everybody for rocking with us tonight. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Help us break 1,000 and get us back to where we used to be before YouTube screwed us over, as always. Here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox and gaming. I'm your host, OX3 Kal-El, with my man Karaba.
What's up?
My boy Cam Hambone.
What's going on, everybody?
And my man Post Up.
What are we doing here? Let's go.
Shout out to my man Fame Entertainment, man. Make sure you guys check out what is it? levelupgaming.com and stuff. He's got his team out there busting their butts, man, putting out some amazing gaming news and content as always. Love you, brother. I'm glad to see you being successful and succeeding in this industry. So listen, man, the Xbox price got, I guess you could say, leaked. And first I want to talk about Microsoft because it got leaked. And I feel like Xbox did a great pivot because they had this whole thing planned the week before where they were going to talk about how they had like all of this content, this show that they was going to talk about, the Xbox One S and how, they came up with the idea of it and everything like that. And somehow, some way, news got out that the console and its pricing was announced. And it kind of just threw a monkey wrench in all of Microsoft's plans like a week early. And because of that, they had to do a pivot, and it was really cool because the little meme with the puppet, and he looks like to the left, he looks straight, and he looks to the right. That's what Xbox put up. Like, they got us. You know what I'm saying? One of those type of situations. So then they had to go ahead and announce everything, and because they had to go ahead and announce everything, we found out the Xbox One S. Well, most of us knew the Xbox One S was real. Like Phil said, it was the worst kept secret. But they finally came out with the platform, and they came out with the specs, and they came out with the pricing for $299. Now, I think the majority of us felt that the S was going to be $299. I personally wanted the X to be $499 because I felt like if Microsoft could have did that at $499, they would have sold the Xbox Series X like crack. Like, it would have went off the shelves like it was nothing, which is exactly what PlayStation is doing with the digital platform. But the digital platform is kind of scarce, and I'm going to talk about that when we start talking about PlayStation. But with Microsoft, you have them putting out this platform for $299, and it's an entry-level console. And the concept of it is so dope because at $299, you're able to play next-gen games at not even like a terrible resolution. You can either go 1440p, where I think most games will be 1080p, honestly, like just keeping it real. I think most games will be 1080p 60. But you'll still be able to play these games next gen titles, games that can't run on the Xbox One X or the Xbox One S because it just doesn't have the CPU power, let alone the architecture is completely different as well. And the GPU is much more powerful than those two consoles. So even at 4 teraflops, that console is really, really powerful console. It just doesn't hit the resolution that most people expect, and that's why you have the Xbox Series X, where it's going to hit that 4K resolution. So it's a great entry-level console for $299. On top of that, it's built for great frames. It's like really built to do 120 frames per second because the CPUs are so close between the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. So I thought the way they designed it was really awesome. I think what winds up happening, or when things get lost, is when suddenly you start seeing developers get frustrated in that they feel like the Xbox Series S is going to be a problem to develop for. And it's funny because no one has a problem developing for the Nintendo Switch. No one has a problem developing for the base PlayStation 4 or the base Xbox One. While you still have the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro, like these platforms, you're still developing games for. You're still scaling games for them. I don't know how the design could be compromised when the CPUs are very similar. You know what I'm saying? The console is built, or shall I say, downgraded for resolution purposes. I do understand I think there's some like less RAM. There's some RAM issues that people are more concerned about more than anything. But overall, it's basically designed for less resolution. So you should be able to build the games that you want to build, but without the said resolution in the said texture packs. And that's a key thing because a lot of people felt like the Xbox Series S wasn't going to be able to hold games because it only had a 500 gigabyte SSD. What you don't realize, what most people don't realize, is that because it doesn't do 4K, you're not getting the 4K texture packs that we're going to get with the bigger model. So because of that, it's actually 30% less to download when you're installing games. So you have more room, or you'll have actually more space on that hard drive to use than you would on the Xbox Series X, because the texture packs on those games will be mostly 4K as well. So I think the Series S is a great entry level console. And before the news that PlayStation's issues had came out, everybody killed the Xbox Series S, and now the tables have turned. Like my man posted. My man posted that meme, how the tables have turned. And now it seems that games may be held back by last gen again, and then I don't see, I guess in the design aspect it may happen, but overall, I don't see the next gen platforms holding back design. Obviously, last gen, sure, but not the next gen ones.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys feel about the Xbox Series S?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's really cool. I think the price point is great. It's there. I've had a couple people. My nephew was ready to buy a PlayStation 5. He was all ready to dig in day one. And then after that presentation yesterday, he told me like, it's all right. I don't really want to buy it for Demon Souls. Not really into Souls.
Really?
And I asked him if he knew what. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really get down on.
I thought
Souls
the presentation was really great. I mean,
I thought it was good too, but that's his thing. So I asked him if he had seen the Series S, and he said no. So I showed him the Series S and specs for it, and he said, I think that's what I'm going to go with. And probably I sold him on what Gamepass is because he hasn't had an Xbox since 360. So I've seen people change their minds, granted close people, and I think the Series S, like, if you have something that low price point with something attached to it like Game Pass, and it's already digital and doesn't have a disk drive, it's going to be attractive to parents, and it's going to be attractive to people just looking to game, not enthusiasts, right? Just looking to have something to turn on occasionally, and that sort of relationship of it just being what it is, and then you turn on the system and go, what's on Game Pass? Ah, cool. That new Xbox Game Studio game came out. I'll try that. Like, I think it's perfect for a more casual gamer, especially at its price point. Again, I stress $299 is nuts. Yes, it can't do 4K, but that's perfect for people who don't have 4K TVs, and not everyone has one. And it does 1440p, which a lot of people who play things like Rainbow Six Siege and Apex Legends and Fortnite at high levels, playing ranked and doing tournaments and things like that, they play on high refresh rate monitors, so that's perfect for them. So I think it's a really cool system, and I'm buying a Series X this fall, but I see myself at some point just having a Series S to have in like the living room, right? Not in the main place the space that I game. Just put it in a different room. So if I'm chilling, I have people over, whatever, we can just pop on some sort of game and play, right? Like I see myself doing that.
I think the S is dope. I think it took a lot of people by surprise, including Sony. $299. I haven't seen that since the 90s.
Yeah, that's a really low price.
Yeah, that's a really low price. And if you look at it, GameStop is giving $200 for a PS4 Pro or Xbox One X, or even $110 for it on One S. So you don't have to spend. You could be spending anywhere from $189 to $100 for a Series S. And you're getting 1440p at 60 frames to 120 frames per second. Now, everybody was screaming, well, it's not getting the One X enhancement. It doesn't need the One X enhancement.
And not everyone wants or needs that.
The memory footprint is smaller. The bandwidth is smaller. It doesn't need the 4K texture packs. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get higher res textures. Okay, we're not talking about 720p. We can still probably fit some 1080p textures in there. In terms of when they're streaming textures. But you're still going to get the improved texture streaming for less pop-ins. You're still going to get the overall improvement of frame rates. And you probably still in the 16-neck anisotropic filtering and stuff like that. And then you still got the same features of the Series X in terms of ray tracing and machine learning, which can do some DLSS 2.0 type things. So it's a lot of stuff, but a lot of this stuff we're not going to see in the beginning of the generation. Give it a couple years, a year or two, where devs can really get a hold of these machines, and then you're going to see what the Series S is really capable of. It's a really, really powerful machine. And I said in one of our discords that it will be competing with the PS5 performance-wise in terms of frame rates. And everybody looked at me like I was silly, but you're gonna see that box is going to be able to hit 60, and then it's going to be able to hit 120 frames frames per second. Now, as games start to get more bigger and resource heavy and things like that, you might see more 60 frames per second games on there than 120 frames per second.
Mhm.
But I will say the same thing applied to the PS5 since how it's built and with dealing with its variable CPU and GPU and how it's based off workload. So I just think it's an overall good system. I'm gonna give my children one. That's all they need. They don't really care about specs and power and all that stuff. So that'd be good. Yeah.
You know, I find it interesting that the Xbox Series S, not only is it priced at a great price, when you add in what Microsoft is trying to do with Game Pass, if they can get the messaging right, like the marketing, I think for me, that's the biggest thing. The marketing in stores. You know what I'm saying? One time when I was at Best Buy, you go to Best Buy, this was like a couple years ago, they had a Battlefield Xbox One S. It was green. I hated it. The color of it was terrible, but they would sell it. It was selling that, and I think it was FIFA, and they had a Fortnite console, and the Fortnite console would sell out all the time, obviously because it's Fortnite. But the problem that they were having was that no one knew about Game Pass. Everybody knew about EA Access because you would see EA Access on the box, but you didn't see Game Pass on the box. I think it's imperative that Microsoft market Game Pass in some format in these stores, whether it's a billboard, a panel, something on a box to let people know that when you get the console, you can get, Game Pass with it for $10 a month. You get X amount of games. You know what I'm saying? You get these games. I think it's really important that they do that going into the holiday season, especially with these new consoles coming out.
Yeah, that's something that I've had to do at the like cashier to customer point, is explain to them what Game Pass is, or tell them, like, if someone walks up to me last year and they're holding a copy of Prey and Devil May Cry 5, and I'm like, you could spend $80 on those right now, or whatever it was, or you could spend $15 for Game Pass Ultimate and get both of them plus 210 other games. That's not something I should have to explain to them. The marketing that they send us at GameStop should tell them that.
Right.
That is just on the wall, right? Because they paid for space in GameStop. They pay to have, like, there's a little thing that's like, this is the difference between digital and the One S and the One X, right? So they should have something that's like, here's Game Pass. I think the problem that they have with, like, that they might have with some of that marketing is, like, a lot of their first party games are not super attractive to people, and those are the only things that are going to be guaranteed to be on there for a long time, right? So, like, you want to put up marketing that has, like, here's Red Dead 2 and this and that and this and that, but those games might not be on there, and that marketing stays up for 6 months.
Yeah, so but they have
Gears 5 and Halo and Forza, they might go, no, I don't really care about those games. That's the only thing that I can think of. Like,
but they got a solid lineup now. I mean, you can add Destiny 2 in there. Yeah. You got Yakuza Like a Dragon in there. You got Medium in there. I can't remember what else exactly is going to be in there on day and date. But
Tetris.
Is Tetris going to be in Game Pass?
Tetris was in that presentation where it was like, all this is going to be Game Pass, right?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure exactly, but there's a lot of games that they're going to be having in Game Pass that's going to be launching today, like Dragon Quest, which I'm excited for.
Excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on Dragon Quest. So I think that Microsoft really has potential here to really push it. And I'll be honest with you, and this is just like the God honest truth, is how I really feel. I feel like Microsoft could potentially take back the US with the $299 Xbox One S. And the reason why I say that is because right now, if you look at the sales between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it is extremely close in the US. It's the rest of the world where Microsoft is getting their ass kicked. You know what I'm saying?
That's Europe and Japan.
Especially Japan. It's not even close in Japan.
In Japan, they sell like 45 Xbox Ones a week.
That's what I'm saying. It's not even that. It's like 6. It's bad, bro.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's bad, and it's all people from the military. You know
Probably, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
yeah. It's not even real. It's not even Japanese people buying Xboxes over there. It's just straight. It's straight immigrants from the U.S. But I think that they have the potential with this $299. Because listen, I think both the digital Xbox One S in the not One S, I'm sorry, the digital Series S in the digital PlayStation are both going to be the consoles that sell the most. Those are going to be the dominant consoles in homes over the next 5 to 10 years. I think people, the hardcore, will absolutely have the $499 PlayStation and the $499 Xbox. A lot of people are going to want disc drives, Blu-ray drives. You know, people love physical. You know, gamers love physical. They got to have collectors disc and stuff like that. So I get that aspect of it. But for the most part, most people are going to buy these $399, $299 consoles, especially casuals, especially moms and pops.
Yeah, I predict big time this holiday. First of all, I want to say, like, as a GameStop employee, launching a console on the 10th and on the 12th, that's gonna suck. Like, as an employee, like, it's gonna be exciting, but that's gonna be a hell of a 4 days. But I totally expect, like, when we get to Thanksgiving, Black Friday, then that big push in the last 3 weeks of December, I think that a lot of people will end up buying the S and the PS5 digital just because it's cheaper. But the only thing is, like, last holiday, I had a bunch of people walk up to me like and go, "Yeah, I got that 1S all digital back there," and then they set down Red Dead 2 on the thing, and I'm like, "You can't. It doesn't work like that. You can't play that thing on this. Sorry." And then they just go, "Oh, never mind." So there's going to be explaining that has to be done. But I really think that price point is going to... If you just want to get something better for little Timmy to play Fortnite on, that's perfect, right? Just a digital console is perfect. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right. I think those are going to do... I think they're going to do better.
Well, because right now
in the long run, maybe not immediately, because immediately the enthusiasts like us are going to go buy the Series X and the PS5 with the disc drive, so we can use our Last of Us remastered discs on that thing, right?
Like, and the digital for the PS5 is pretty scarce, and I think Sony is doing that on purpose.
That's what I was going to say.
To force people to buy the $499 because they're taking a loss. They're taking a huge loss on that digital.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was just going to say that I think that the digital is very scarce, and it's a way where I think it's like they made sure that you had access to the digital, but if the digital sold out, the disc was there. They want you to buy that disc console. Mm-hmm. Like Sony wants you to buy that $499. They don't want you to really buy that $399 console. They want you to buy that $499 console because that's closer to what they want to make back, you know, on the console compared to the digital one.
And then there's an extra avenue for them to make software money back is through retailers with physical stuff. You can buy digital games and physical games. But in the
end, it doesn't matter. Both are going to be bought.
Yeah,
but they still want to make the extra money off. And
also, Xbox is losing on their own consoles money as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what you mean? Losing what? You talking about on the Series X?
Yes.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
that's just consoles always sold.
It's consoles. You always lose money on consoles.
The Switch is sold at a loss.
Well, but it's different with Microsoft though, because the S might have the same CPU, but it doesn't have the same GPU. Okay. Hold on, I got some talk in the background. Y'all go ahead. Hold
on. So it's not that I'm done. I lose interest when people talk about specs a lot. Like, I would love to talk about games.
I mean, we could talk about games. We'll get to that in a minute. We're gonna talk about games in a minute. I'm just talking about, in particular, the prospects of what this pricing means for us when it comes to holiday season and the effects that it could have on next generation.
And so then let me say this. There was already a rumor that Final Fantasy 16 is PlayStation exclusive, right?
Yeah.
This was before this was showcased. There
Mhm.
was a rumor of that.
Mhm.
And do you remember the second rumor too?
What, the Grand Theft Auto?
Indeed. If
Okay.
this true, don't ever expect for Microsoft to take US back, because we both know how massive Grand Theft Auto is.
I don't know, man. I think that first of all, my understanding
I
is
do know. Look
Final
at the
Fantasy-
sale. All
Well,
you
here's
need
the thing. I believe Final Fantasy 16 is timed, correct?
no,
they-
they said
they-
the
they
console
have-
exclusive. They didn't
They have
say
said console
time.
exclusive, but Karaba and I talked about this today. They didn't say timed, but the thing is, we know Deathloop is timed. Deathloop is coming to Xbox a year or 9 months or 9 months after its launch on PlayStation, and they used the same messaging at the end of the trailer for Final Fantasy 16 as they did at the end of the trailer for Deathloop yesterday. So if I'm just going to assume, Square's probably going to want one of their biggest money makers on as many platforms as possible, which include PC and the Xbox consoles. So
this is what
I
it
don't
is.
think it's going to be timed, or I
Final
don't think it's
Fantasy-
going to be lifetime exclusive. I think
Final
it's going to be timed.
Fantasy 16 is a 6 months exclusive for non-console platforms, meaning
How
after
did
6
you hear the 6 months?
meaning after 6 months it can go to PC. It's a
Mhm.
1 year time exclusive for consoles, meaning after 1 year
On other platforms.
it can go to other platforms.
Okay,
Did they
so,
say so?
if we then see, and this is something exactly what you just said, I saw yesterday about Final Fantasy 16. If we see Final Fantasy 7 remake hit Xbox in like March, April, or May of 2021, then I'm assuming the same will be the case for Final Fantasy 16.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Final Fantasy 16, I was bitter.
I
was bitter,
I was
buddy.
blown away to be bitter. That's the most impressed I've been by
It
a
was
video game
impressive.
trailer all year.
At
That
the
is
end, at the end of the trailer, at the bottom, it said limited time.
It did say limited time, console exclusive.
And then
But
a guy came out on Twitter and just broke it all down in terms of the exclusivity. So,
But that's my thing. I was kind of upset because I'm like, damn, Final Fantasy 7 remakes exclusive. I gotta wait for that,
mhm.
right? Then I'm like, damn, they got Final Fantasy 16. Now I gotta wait for that. I grew up on Final Fantasy. You know what I'm saying? So for me, there's a nostalgia factor to
Mhm.
Final Fantasy and not being able to play it, especially considering now that damn near every Final Fantasy is on the Xbox, and I've been able to play Final Fantasy since 13 on Xbox. You know what I'm saying? So that now, being that 16 isn't on there, it was kind of frustrating, a little bit. But I'll tell you, the one thing it did do, it convinced me to get a PlayStation.
But think about this. It's good you got one, because that will be from the day of release. So it's going to be even longer for you to get access to that than it would be the Final Fantasy 7 remake. So,
Final
Right.
Fantasy
Yeah.
16
And by
that
the
might not
time
show
you
up on
get Final
Xbox until
Fantasy
like
7 remake,
2024.
and by the time you get Final Fantasy Remake 1, 2 will be already came out on PlayStation 5.
I don't know.
I
if-
think that was the
I don't-
plan.
I-
I think that was the
Yeah,
plan.
I don't know
I
about
think
that.
that's
They-
the
they
plan,
said
because
recently
it would
they're
be
only in
massively
pre-production on 7 remake. That might be a while for that one.
it would be massively stupid from PlayStation to have said, okay, we want just Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 1 exclusive.
I don't
I'm
know if
pretty
that'd be
sure
massively stupid. There's hype around it then.
I'm pretty sure they got it all completed exclusive for a year.
We'll see.
All I know is when I saw that, first of all, Final Fantasy 16 looked dope because it was like
Looked amazing.
all the combat was one person.
Yeah,
Like, if you noticed that there was no team,
Yeah.
he was fighting
I
everybody by
saw a
himself.
lot of
So,
people not happy
do you
about
think-
that, but I think it looks great.
Yeah,
do you think it's going to stay like this?
I think
Or-
so.
I-
This might be the first time a Final Fantasy character is the main character and there's no team ups.
I could see them at some point during the
That would
during that
be-
story having people show up, and it's almost like For some reason in my mind, I see it as almost like Kingdom Hearts-esque, where there's
Mm-hmm.
someone that you're escorting maybe for a portion of the story, and then they heal you. But I think a
Like they
majority of that
draw
game-
your
But
team
then-
per area or something. like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
It had
But
a
if you
Witcher
do
look to
that-
me, though. It looked
But-
That
like
would
The
be
Witcher.
interesting. Yeah, that's
That
what I'm
would
saying.
be
It looks like
massive.
It looked
different.
It looked so.
it was very
real
different.
fantasy. You know what? It gave me in the portions when they're like in the town and it's like the mother talking to the children and everything. That gave me real hard Game of Thrones vibes.
It
That looks
dope. I'm not gonna lie.
That game looks fantastic.
It
I
looks
am
dope.
so impressed by that game.
It looked a lot like, and this is how I interpreted it at first. When I first saw the trailer, I thought it was 14, an extension for 14, because the character models all looked super duper similar to 14. I
Yeah.
just played the trial again, and the character, how you interact with them, how some of them looked a little bit dead on the inside, in the sense of they're going to be NPC without actual voice acting. And then you see how the story is way more focused on personal characters than more on the party. It was way more 14-ish than 13.7 or anything like that.
Well, they said that is made by the guy who makes the MMO, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, very similar.
saved
apparently
the
it
MMO,
was made by the same guys that revived the MMO, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
MMO was
right.
kind of dying, and
Right,
he
right.
revived it. So clearly, and the MMO for Final Fantasy 7, for Final Fantasy 14 is thriving. Why is it thriving? Because they introduced shit tons of new characters, shit tons of new skills and content.
They reworked that
Think-
whole game at some point, right?
Story content, and
Yeah.
this is key. Story is key.
Absolutely.
We already seen the gameplay. Gameplay looks phenomenal. They also got someone working on it from DMC Combat. I didn't play DMC5, but apparently someone from DMC5
Yeah, He was
is
the
working
combat
on it.
director for Dragon's Dogma and DMC5. So
And
both
I
those
love
games-
the Dragon Dama.
both those games have incredible combat.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
So listen, man. To me, that was a megaton for PlayStation. I said it on Twitter. I'm going to reiterate it again. No matter how you slice that was a megaton deal.
Yep.
The one thing and I said this before. This is the one thing I give PlayStation props for is that they know how to cater to their fan base.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They do an excellent job of securing games, and catering to their fan base. It's the only thing I will say though is that there is a bit of hypocrisy in that Sony could pull something like this off and be praised for it, and Xbox
Yes.
How?
Oh, yes.
just
that-
can't.
They
They
can't.
just
in
can't.
what way?
They can't. And we've on the show talked about it before, and Karab and I have gone back and forth about it before. And he said that's because Tomb Raider was a sequel. You can't do that. Well, Final
That's-
Fantasy 16 it's not a sequel, but it's the 16th
It's not a
game.
sequel, standalone.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah,
that
but
doesn't matter, bro.
It's a
That
franchise
doesn't
that
matter.
millions, tens and millions of people love. That's it's, if you think it's not okay to keep the second game in the Tomb Raider reboot from people on PlayStation, then it's probably not okay to keep Final Fantasy 16 from people on Xbox. So
But it's a good get.
yeah, it's a good get. It's good for them. Yeah,
It's good for them. It's a
I
good
don't
get.
I still don't like deals like that, but like at some point the Xbox team is going to look at these deals and go, "Fuck, we got to go get something." What's
That's
Bungie?
Yeah,
what I
really
was
have.
saying.
They already did so.
Yeah,
What
Scarlet-
did they get?
they've been getting
Scarlet
smaller
Nexus. Scarlet
Scarlet
Nexus.
Nexus.
Scarlet
Come
Nexus
on,
is
bro.
not exclusive
Stop.
on
It is.
Xbox.
Scarlet Nexus is
is.
not. It's
Scarlet
not. It's not
Nexus
exclusive.
is not exclusive.
It's
They're
not
marketing that
exclusive.
game. That's not how that works.
Listen,
But if they have anything, it's the next gen version of Yakuza, which is probably that doesn't even matter that they have the next gen version of
Yakuza isn't
Yakuza.
even exclusive because it's on PlayStation 4. But continue.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. It's on PlayStation 4. So if I wanted to, if I bought a PlayStation 5, I could buy the PlayStation 4 version of Like a Dragon and put it in my PlayStation 5 and play it.
Indeed.
They-
I
oh
still
no!
find
it's
that
only
weird.
gonna be and not for. Yeah, it's a pointless. I was talking about it with friends last night. That Like a Dragon deal was a waste of time and money. Just ask them to put on the
it
game.
made no sense because the game already came out
put
in
on the system.
Japan, so people
Yeah.
can still
I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why
That
would
Like
you
a
release
Dragon
it?
deal does not make any sense.
You release it on the Xbox Series X as a next gen title, but don't release it on the PlayStation 5. They have to wait. I don't understand that logic.
But they can buy it on
They can buy it on PlayStation 4
and play it on PlayStation 5. It doesn't.
That's just weird. That's a weird.
Whatever they paid for that was 100% too much. Just
but
make sure they're putting Yakuza on the Xbox Series X, and that's the end of the conversation, right?
Yeah, I just think that Final Fantasy is a big get. My thing was when I got into a debate with some people on Twitter over this, and I was saying that this is the thing where I feel like this. I get at Phil because I had Paris from shout out to Paris from Gamertag Radio. He had hit me up and he was like, I shouldn't hit Phil up like that, being that I kind of talk to Phil or whatever. I need to hit him up in a DM. But the reason why I hit him up publicly is because I really want to get his attention. Because sometimes you could DM these guys and they
don't read.
Yeah, they don't respond. They'll read it, they'll read it, but they just won't respond. You know what I'm saying? Because they get the DMs. Because sometimes I'll hit Phil up, he won't respond, and then other times I'll hit him up and he'll respond and he'll be like, "Yeah, I read your last comment or whatever, whatever." So when I tweet him, I want his attention because I know that if I tweet him in public, a lot of the guys who follow me will retweet it or jump in the conversation and bring attention to that tweet. So
that I made.
No. I'm talking about when I hit Phil up. Like if I tweet something to Phil and I tag him in it, it's because I want to draw his attention to that particular tweet. And I know that the fan base more than likely will either agree with me or disagree with me, but that conversation will start getting traction enough that he'll start getting hits.
Yeah,
right.
I think like as a small time creator, man, using like not small time, but like a homegrown creator, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Using your voice in public on the soapbox, not as a bad thing. Again, soapbox, like just kind of standing on the street corner going, "Hey Phil, man, come pay attention to what I'm saying." There's nothing wrong with that. Like, yeah, a DM would be professional, but like using your voice with your audience to say something, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
My tweet kind of caused some stuff because I talked to someone that told me like, I understand what was said is was wrong and what the Bearman, I agree with you, but just kind of keep quiet about it. And I'm like, and I mean that's understandable when you're in a position where, or Microsoft is in a position where they're not trying to draw negative attention. Look, I don't talk, no disrespect to Cal or anything like that in his relationship. I don't talk to Phil.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk to these execs. I'm just a gamer that's invested in the ecosystem.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see something that needs to be addressed or even need to give constructive criticism, then yes, even though Phil didn't make that statement and it came from a Xbox spokesperson, Xbox is run from the top down.
Yep.
So if she's saying that, then it has to be the same sentiments at the people at the top.
Yeah.
And if you feel as though your fan base is that gullible to even agree with something like that, then you need a reality check. Because we're all not that gullible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we buy into the system. Yes, like Cal said, we enjoy the features of backwards compatibility. That's not my main reason for buying the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I had to say something. The tweet did garner a lot of attention. And if it did and if Phil read it, I hope he did. I hope a lot of people at Xbox read it so they can know that we're not just gullible enough to just settle for anything.
Yeah.
I have
because my perspective was that I thought it was another AAA game outside of Halo. That was fun.
Yeah. You would think
question.
I have two big games.
Now I know that they threw all their eggs in a Halo basket. It didn't work out, and everything else is coming post-launch.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
That's why I was upset. That's why I made that tweet. Like, what the hell is going on?
I didn't see any of these tweets.
You know what I'm like, what the hell is going on over there? Like, And it was just out of frustration because I was assuming the August event got pushed back to September. There's one more event for them to show off the S, what it's capable of, and maybe announce some more things that might be coming in Game Pass, and maybe another AAA game. But now I know there's outside of the third-party games and backwards compatibility, in terms of first party, we're gonna have to wait.
That's why they've been
there's-
pushing
there's-
backward compatibility and Game Pass
There's
non-stop.
always Gears Tactics, man, a game you've been able to play on your PC since March. Come on.
Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. There's a lot of games coming to
I know
Xbox that's really good. Third party support, second party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of games that's going to be on there that you'll be able to play. It's just from a first party perspective.
Yeah,
They put their eggs in the Halo basket and it didn't work out. And this was my point. In my opinion, because when I was arguing with one of my, not really arguing, but debating with one of my guys, I'm sitting up there and he's like, well, it's PR, and PR is trying to like save face, like they know they messed up. What do you want them to say? I want them to be honest.
Say nothing.
You know what I'm saying?
No, be
I need
honest.
them-
Kyle.
yeah,
Don't
it's
say
better.
nothing. Be honest.
Right. Don't try to sugarcoat anything.
It is
Because
what it
say
is.
nothing is what Sony did. Now everyone's mad at them for that.
Right. The worst
Yeah.
thing you could do, the worst thing you could say
No,
is that, we don't have, it's unfortunate that Halo doesn't work, but we got all these great backwards compatible games. You don't buy a new console for old games. It's great that you have them.
Thank you.
You want
what I'm
at
saying?
least one
Thank you.
thing that's going to bring you to that new system, even if it's something like Spider-Man, which is available on PlayStation 4. You can play Miles Morales on this PS4 Pro sitting next to me right here, but it looks better on the PS5. There we go, $500 well spent. Perfect, right? That makes sense. There's nothing like that on the Xbox. They have zero things like that.
Right. So for me, I'm sitting up there trying to tell them like this is not a good look because you're sitting up there and it makes it seem like and the thing that makes it worse is that they've been talking about backwards compatibility forever. Like for months they talk about BC this, enhanced games this, we're getting over 4 generations. Like okay, we get that.
Now
What
we
else do you
understand.
have? You know what I'm saying? Now
there is
Why they've been doing it though. Now,
right. So my thing is like I'm looking at Sony's conference. Some people are hating on the conference. I'm like, bro, like I'm not a Demon Souls fan. I don't care for Demon Souls. You'll never catch me playing
looked
Demon
amazing.
Souls. But it looked great, right?
Mhm.
Spider-Man, before we found out that Spider-Man was on PS4 and PlayStation took an L, which is the reality.
Yeah.
Before it took
They
an
know.
L, though, it
They-
was
Big L.
right.
A
They know.
summer of guys telling us on this show and other shows and on Twitter that PlayStation would never do that,
We'll-
and then
we'll
they
get
did it
to that.
one time. Miles Morales, 2 times Destruction All Stars, 3 times Sackboy Adventure. Bam, 3 L's. You
Yeah,
lost.
no,
Horizon Zero
we'll
Dawn?
definitely get to that. But the point is that Miles Morales and Destruction All Stars, whatever they showed, plus Final Fantasy 16, to me, I thought was really impressive.
Yeah.
And that the showing was really impressive, and it sold me, especially Final Fantasy 16, sold me on getting a PlayStation 5. Now, here's the difference, because once I said that, a lot of people are like, why are you still with Xbox? Here's what I want people to understand where you don't get confused. Because somebody said you don't need exclusives. Like, you don't need exclusives to sell consoles. And I'm like, bruh, that's the stupidest thing anybody could have said, because it's the exclusives that get you on the console. That is what you prefer. That is why
They don't want to accept that.
right.
No,
But that's what I'm saying. It's the
people.
Halo.
There are people who accept that, but I'm just going to step in and say there are people who don't care about that. They
no,
just
I
like
do understand that. I
there
do.
are they just like the PlayStation controller, and their homies play on PlayStation, so they play. They
I
buy a
get
PlayStation,
that, and I said that as well.
That's
I said that as well. But that's the thing. This is why I try to tell people all the time. The hardcore move the industry. People think it's casuals because so many casuals buy consoles and games in abundance, stuff that we normally wouldn't buy, the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, the Maddens. But here's the thing. They have a hardcore friend that's on a particular platform. And that person on that platform is where they go and follow, because casuals aren't doing what we're doing. They're not in podcasts. They're not watching people on YouTube. They're not following trends. They don't know what's going on. They got a dude that they're cool with that knows everything, and they hit this guy up. And this guy tells them what's going on in the gaming world. And in some instances, maybe they do a little bit of research themselves. But if the majority of the hardcore guys like us have these shows and these little things like that out there, and they're reading these things, they're following what's trending. And that's how that wave works. They follow that wave. So when it's like, you're telling me that exclusives don't matter because X amount of games sells, that's bull. Because Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, Knights of the Old Republic, BioShock, Jade Empire, Mass Effect, when all those games was exclusive, that's why I jumped on. Right. That's why I got an Xbox 360. That's why I stuck with Xbox.
Yeah.
I didn't get those games on PlayStation at the time. You know, Lost Odyssey. Those are the games that had me hop on Xbox. Exactly. And that's the reason why I stuck with Xbox. So I need Xbox to get back to that. And they've done that with Fable, Avowed. They're proving that they're going in a direction. And that's the reason why I'm staying. That's a major difference. But they still messed up. They still needed to have some major deal at launch to recover for Halo. They needed a third-party deal. Something big, just like Final Fantasy 16, to cover Halo. And I don't know if Phil can still do it, but it needs to get done. Honestly,
the third party said, "Look, I'm not here to applaud Phil on what he knows he should be doing. That's what he should be doing. I'm not going to applaud you for your job. That's your job. It's your job to appeal to your fan base and to keep them happy in the ecosystem. But what I will do is when I see something I don't like it, speak up on it, loud and clear, because you need to hear it. Because me celebrating you, applauding you for what you're going to do is not going to make you better. It's me telling you what you're not doing right.
Yeah.
And not being content that's what's going to push you to do better in terms of providing for your ecosystem and your fan base. It needs something. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe that Halo was going to be the only first party AAA. I couldn't believe it.
Do either of you ever get those, Cal and Post? Either of you ever get those things on your notification center on Xbox that say like, "We'd love your feedback," and it's a little like 3-question survey? Do either of you ever get those?
Yeah.
So it's like it'll ask like, do you like the Xbox experience? And I'll say like, or how do you like it? And it's like really bad, okay, good, really good, right? I always say good. And then the next question is, what can we do to improve? And I always say more and better exclusives. One out of the damn ecosystem now.
I think Microsoft is. Don't get me wrong. I think Microsoft is doing an excellent job. These games it's gonna take time to incubate without question. I think Fable and Avowed are going to be huge. I don't know what the initiative making. I know it's a third-party action title is going to be huge. Hellblade look like it's going to be huge. Even State of Decay 3 is supposed to be switching it up and going to a third person sort of Days Gone type style. I think my understanding. So we'll see how it all pans out in the next 2 to 3 years.
Cartoony look.
Yeah, it's supposed to be moved away from that.
They need to.
We'll see how it all pans out. I'm very interested in that. But
is the cartoony look an issue?
No, I don't think it's an issue, but
it's something that people use against the Xbox platform to say, like, look, all these games are for kids, or look these games aren't as they'll take the State of Decay screenshot and compare it to Last of Us. Like, these games both have zombies in it, but look which one looks better.
Let me tell you something. You can't keep giving me these State of Decay CGIs crazy, looking scary, and like, man, and then when you play the game and zoom out, you got cartoony. You can't keep doing that. If you're gonna be State of Decay, that CGI they showed for State of Decay 3,
it's got to be like that.
It has to be like that.
Yeah,
I have to have that realistic look.
I will say nothing about State of Decay 3 until we have seen gameplay. I have no expectations for that game because I thought 2 was going to be a big one, and then 2 was what it was, and we'll see what they do. Right? Like they're like rearing up with you like Unreal Engine people. Microsoft's getting all on the Unreal Engine train, right? So maybe a UE5 engine switch will allow them to have what the size of the map and the like amount of zombies on screen or whatever with character models that look as good as that CGI trailer. But I don't. What I'm trying to say is I have no expectations for that game. I'm just going to see it.
I hear you. I really love the direction. I really love the direction that Everwild is going.
Yeah.
And when I watch Everwild, if you go back and watch, and I know it's sort of like an animated sort of type game.
It looks amazing.
Animation is incredible.
Yeah.
Like it really is really Pixar-esque. It's really incredible. It's beautiful. The way the hair flows, the animals, the way they look, it is amazing what Rare is doing with this game. And it's funny because as they talked about the game, it's exactly what I talked about in one of the podcasts where I was like, oh, dude, I had the perfect story for this game. They was like, they don't know what to do with the game yet, and they're trying to figure things out.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
And I was
They
like,
don't even know what they want to do with the gameplay, right?
Well, no, but they're starting to figure it out. They're talking about how you can use the animals in the world to help you do certain things. I'm like, it's literally in the trailer.
Exactly what you described.
Yeah, I said it's literally in the trailer, and you're dealing with spirits, and you got to stop the darkness. It's always about stopping the darkness. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's always about stopping the darkness in the forest. Like that's exactly what it is, and that's what they're going for. But the art direction looks incredible, and they call the characters the immortals. They're immortal, I guess. I don't know, but the game looks incredible. I'm really excited for Rare and happy that Rare is making a return to being a prominent developer after Sea of Thieves. Because Sea of Thieves got a lot of flack, and now it's one of the most popular, successful games on the market. People still use it in console wars as a bad game, but it's not.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. It really is. You have
to have some friends and a little bit of imagination, and that is a damn good video game. Like,
yeah, people have no idea how successful Sea of Thieves has become. It's absolutely amazing.
It's getting update after update every month. Bad games don't get updates like that.
Yeah. Before we head out of here and go on to the next subject, as we literally ran the whole train off course, I want to talk about something that Albert Pernello said on Twitter. Albert Pernello, who's a former director at Xbox, said, what happens when the Xbox Velocity architecture turns out to be every bit as performant as the PS5's SSD? And then it also turns out that frame rates are better on the Series S because in order to overclock to get to 10.2 teraflops, you can't get to 60 frames per second on your games. That's an interesting thought. I mean, I don't think I think even if the PlayStation hits 10.2 T-flops, whether it's whether it's maxed out or even if it drops, I'm pretty sure the CPU should be powerful enough to maintain 60 frames per second. Nick Marcel, shout out to Nick Marcel, who is a prominent personality in the gaming community on Twitter, as well as a writer for levelupgaming.com. He was like, listen, I may be dumb, but I think 9.3 teraflops or whatever PlayStation 5 has as a base is more than 4 teraflops in the S. And here's what Albert says. He says, that's true, but the CPU in the S is nearly the same as the X, and the CPU will have less GPU overhead to contend with. So I'm willing to bet that for cross-platform games, you'll see better frame rates on the Series S than you will on the PS5.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how PCs work. I'm not a PC builder. I've seen a lot of guys say that they've dropped their GPU to get better frames from their CPU when it came to certain games. I guess because the GPUs have a lot of overhead and it puts a lot of strain on the CPU. So it's less strain on the CPU. It allows the CPU to work better and reach, I guess, the frames that you want to reach. I just feel like if the Xbox Series S is able to hit all the points that Xbox say is going to hit, where let's say maybe not every game is 1440p, but it's 1080p, but you're hitting 120 frames per second, 60 frames per second locked, and the game still look good, whether it's 1080p textures or it's got ray tracing or something like that, I really think this console is going to fly off shelves. I know the $399 PS4 is going to sell extremely well, but I would not be surprised, and I've seen it already, that a lot of PlayStation guys may invest in getting the Series S.
I mean, it depends. A lot of engines are GPU heavy, where they get away from the CPU. And you have engines that are that rely on the CPU a lot. So it depends. But we're seeing this now in terms of games where on next gen systems, you still have to have performance mode, where you can't run 4K and 60 frames per second at the same time. A lot of it has to do with ray tracing, with them using ray tracing as well. And so yeah, you're gonna continue to see performance modes in. And I still think you're gonna see a lot of 4K 30 frames per second games on the PS5, and then you're gonna have the option of running at 4K 60 without ray tracing, or 120 frames per second mode by itself, like with dynamic resolution, similar to Devil May Cry 5. It has, I think, 4 performance modes. Its base is 4K 30 frames per second. Then you have the 4K 60 frames per second mode, and then you have a 1080p 60 frames per second mode with ray tracing, and then you have a 120 frames per second mode where we don't know what the resolution is.
I hope that they at least explain what each of these is, because when the X and the Pro came out and it was like resolution graphics, right? And then some games were like, they'd say like detail or something like that. I hope at least some of these are like, they have like a little blurb underneath, like, oh, you'll get ray tracing with this one, don't worry, or this one is just high frame rate, and that's it.
This is what we was talking about when Sony came out with the whole variable thing and how it's based on workload. Now, Digital Foundry stated that a lot of the devs that they was hearing from was not so much throttling, but pulling frequency or power back off the CPU and giving it to the GPU so it could run at that 2.23 gigahertz, so it can sustain that 10.2 or 10.3 teraflops. And a lot of developers have these performance profiles where the dev kit have the ability to lock the frequencies like Microsoft box is, but that's only for the dev kits. So what they do is the developers pick a performance profile and then lock it at that frequency, and it develop the game at that particular lock profile for optimization. But when the game comes out on the retail version, it's not going to be able to run at the lock frequency. It's going to go back to the variable profiles where Smart Shift come in, depending on the workload. So, yeah, I believe what Albert Pinella said, and I said this before. I said this I had a conversation about this in the Discord before Albert Pinella even came out and said this. I said that the Series S, performance-wise, in terms of frame rate, is going to be neck and neck with the PlayStation 5, and a lot of people laughed at me saying this and that, but I was like, yeah, okay. And it's funny that Albert Pinella came out and said the same thing. So we'll see. That was
interesting. All right, let's jump into we 57 minutes in and just got off like our first topic.
I need to say this. Can I say this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Are you going to skip over the PlayStation 5 event, or are you going to talk about it?
I'm trying to get to that right now. I'm about to do next.
Okay. Because I actually want to start off with saying PlayStation lied.
Yeah.
And I'm actually super pissed about it.
Listen, so obviously you have Phil Spencer coming out a couple weeks or months or whatever you want to say ago, talking about how Microsoft planned to support the Xbox platform for 1 or 2 years. And a lot of fans didn't like that, they didn't like the idea that Microsoft games would still be going to the platform, and people felt like it was going to hold games back. And then we see Halo, and we all lose our minds. Like, let's just keep it 100. We all lose our minds because we're disappointed with the way Halo looked. You hear all this talk about the new engine and the slip space engine and how and how it's really going to revolutionize Halo. And when we see the game, it's maybe the game as gameplay, maybe it was revolutionary. We never got past that point because we couldn't get past the visuals. So, a lot of people were disappointed in the way the game looked. It didn't look next gen, it felt next gen, so people felt like the game was being held back. And because of that, and because of all the backlash, Microsoft decided to go ahead, and not launch that game this holiday. And as disappointed as many Xbox fans are, it's for the best. And we all can agree that this was the smartest thing that they could have done, because this Halo was really important and they really need to knock it out the park. So glad that they're taking the time to make whatever corrections that they're going to make. And hopefully the next time we see the game is going to be good. But here's what's crazy. And I want to bring up, give me 1 second. I want to try to pull up this list. And here's what's crazy, because as we talk about PlayStation, Sony had pumped out all this talk about how they were done with generations. You know what I'm saying? And they were moving on for generations, and they felt it was really important that they give their base next generation experiences. And then as they went ahead and again, they did an amazing show. I thought they had a great show. It was literally 8.5, 9 out of 10 for me. They made sure that they gave you a great show, because they had some crap to tell you at the end of the show.
In a blog post
was going to piss a lot of people off.
The PlayStation blog where dreams go to die, right? Every time it seems like that PlayStation blog is saying something. It's like,
so you find out that basically the majority of some of these next generation games, at least some of the bigger ones, are actually going to be on PlayStation 4. So games like Horizon Zero Dawn,
oh no,
Miles Morales, Sackboy,
remember when people said Horizon Forbidden West was only possible because of the PlayStation 5?
Right.
Okay,
Remember
so
that?
I
remember that
very
very
and Demon
I have
Souls
to say something about that.
Which
The
is
reason
cool.
why it was said, because developers came out and said themselves that because of GPU, CPU, I don't care whatsoever PPU is, they wanted to introduce flying in Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game, but they couldn't, and now they're able to do so on the PlayStation 5. That's why it is not possible on the PlayStation 4.
Well, it
And
is on the
there's-
PlayStation 4 now,
There is
so
two rumors. So there's two rumors. One rumor is that this game what's called Horizon Zero Dawn 2 started for the PlayStation 4, and then they switch over to the PlayStation 5. That's the first rumor. The second rumor is they're doing, you remember how Halo Infinite was doing two versions?
yeah, people said
With-
that. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So the developers came out and said, no, we're actually doing two versions for the game. One for the PlayStation 4, one for the PlayStation 5. So I put out a tweet and asked Code if the PlayStation 5 will have flight and PlayStation 4 can't. Does that mean that the PlayStation 4 version will simply not be able to do flight? And till now, I didn't get any answer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll see. But I mean, if I want to play Horizon Forbidden West, I don't have to buy a PlayStation 5. So
Yeah.
And that's the key feature. So then you find out a little bit later that not only are some of these games launching on the PlayStation 4, Sony plans to cover and support the PlayStation 4 for another 3 to 4 years.
wow,
But that is
almost like
nothing
they sold
new,
100
though.
million of
They
those, and
already
they want
did that with the
money off
PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
Crazy.
but that's exactly what Microsoft said.
That's crazy. Wow.
And everyone took what Microsoft said. If you're gonna take what they're saying about PlayStation out of context, then you're taking what Microsoft said out of context, because Phil never said that every first party game was going to be on the Xbox One, but everyone assumed that it would be, and that those games would be held back.
Right?
Because
it's easy to take it out of context when that's what you want.
Right. So now with PlayStation and Sony, their time has doubled the Xbox. They're talking 3 to 4 years, which is 2024, 2025. So 2023, 2025, 2024. So there's the possibility that new God of War, if it is a new God of War, it could be on the PS4.
Yeah.
That's a strong possibility.
Why should I buy a PlayStation 5?
It's gonna be tough. Now, here is something that Aaron Greenberg had put out. Well, he didn't put out, but he shared out. These are the titles that are next gen only for the Xbox Series X, and at this point, they actually have more games than PlayStation that are next generation. At this point, you have As Dusk Falls, Avowed, Everwild, Fable. Now, Avowed is first party. That's coming from Obsidian. Everwild is first party. That's coming from Rare. Fable's first party. That's coming from Playground Games' second studio. You got Forza Motorsport. Obviously, the new Forza is next gen. That's coming from Turn 10. You got The Gunk, which is a next gen title. The Medium, which is a next gen title. Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Now, you have Phantasy Star Online 2, which is on the Xbox One, but not New Genesis. I believe this is a new upgrade or something that they're going to be adding to it. It looked pretty crazy when we saw it. Scorn, which is a next gen title. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2 is going to be on there. Stalker 2, State of Decay 3, which is first party title. Obviously, Hellblade 2 is a first party title, and Warhammer 40,000 Dark Tide. Now, I'm not a Warhammer fan, but I know there's a big cult base for that game, and there's a big cult base for Stalker as well from PC. And when you look at this, it's funny because everybody thought these games were all coming to Xbox One. They're not. So it's
was Crossfire X on that list? Because I think
Crossfire X
is coming to Xbox One also.
Coming to Xbox One. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like when it comes to first party, the majority of first party is next gen. There's still a lot of third party support, obviously. A lot of indie support, obviously, but a lot of first party from Microsoft is next gen, and obviously we're going to have to wait for that. We probably won't get those games till about 2022. I want to say at the earliest. I don't expect that in 2021. I would hope Phil does something for 2021 because I'm gonna tell you right now, PlayStation's 2021 is nuts.
I think 2021 for Xbox is going to be a lot of smaller titles, a lot of console exclusives, and then Motorsport 8 or just Forza Motorsport and Halo Infinite. I think that's what they're going to have. I think 2022 is when you're going to start seeing stuff like Everwild and Senua's Saga and things like that come out.
Yeah, but PlayStation's 2021 is crazy. If they have Horizon come out with God of War in the same year, that is insane.
I have a feeling that one of the game is going to be delayed.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, you don't put out God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn at the same year unless you have something massively bigger than them. Yeah. And
why not? They put out The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima a month apart.
Sorry? Yeah, but that's because they have been developed for a few years now. 4 or 5 years or something. And
I thought you were just saying that you wouldn't put them out in the same year because you're worried that they might eat into each other's sales. That's not what you were saying.
No, I think because they started a new generation. They want to keep supporting the generation. Unless they have something way bigger for 2022 and 23. I don't think it's a good idea to put Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War in 1 year. Because you wanna have something in 2022. What's
something
coming 2022?
Sony will have something.
Games. That's how generations are. Some years are slower, some years are jam packed.
The one thing I will say about PlayStation is I never doubt that they won't have something.
Yeah, no.
They always have something. You know what I'm saying? So I expect them definitely to have something in 2022. But I think 2021 is going to be a big year for them. But the thing is that when they do have something in 2022, Microsoft will have something in 2022, and they're going to be rolling after that point. That's the thing. They're going to be rolling big after that point because all of these studios that they're working with now are going to be having these games. And I'm telling you right now, the one thing that I was impressed with so far is that the third-party titles that were released from their new studios have been really impressive. Obsidian's Outer Worlds, really great game. Really good game. Really love that game. Wasteland, I don't like tactical RPGs. Wasteland 3 is incredible.
Bro, I remember like a month before Wasteland 3 came out, you said on the show, I don't really get down with that. And every time I see OX3 Kal-El is online,
Wasteland
3. Wasteland 3.
Wasteland 3 was so good. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. It was so impressive. The dialogue was impressive. The direction they put the game was impressive. To be honest with you, I think I put like 70 hours into that game and felt it was short. I felt I beat the game too damn fast.
Okay, I need to play this.
That's how good that game was. It was definitely an 8.5 out of 10. And the ending, the way you end it was dope. They give you your own theme song.
No way.
At the end, they literally sang what you did in the game.
Oh, so it's like what happens at the end of New Vegas where it shows your choices, but it's like someone sitting at a fire with a guitar.
Dude singing a folklore song with a guitar, and he's singing everything you did throughout the game, bro.
That is sick.
Right? And then obviously it ends and it tells you what happened with all your choices and decisions in a story. It was dope. It was dope. I was like,
I'm glad
wow.
you liked it because you were like, nah, I'm good. And then I could tell, like,
right.
Cal's playing that a lot.
And that's the thing. I'm playing this game and I'm like, yo, In Exile just got the check. Phil cut them the check. You know what I'm saying? They're about to make a AAA title. Wastelands is not even a AAA title.
That's a game made with crowdfunding money and a little bit of a dead publisher's money, right? Like,
right. They're talking about making a third person RPG, bro. You know, like a major AAA title. I am so excited for that. And Obsidian is already working on Avowed.
Yep.
So I'm excited, and that's going to be like the Sky. Like we already got Outer Worlds, which is like the Fallout killer.
Yep.
You already know Avowed.
They have competitors for both of Bethesda's big RPGs.
Exactly.
They have,
exactly. And I put 200 hours into Skyrim, so I'm definitely going to be hyped for it.
Because that's the thing that surprised me most about Avowed is like the night before that show, it was like, yeah, the guy who directed Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, he's directing a new Pillars game. And I was like, they're going to show top-down Pillars RPG. That's cool. That'll be good for Pillars fans. I'll try it. And then they were like, no, this game's first person. This is a Skyrim competitor. That's the Skyrim competitor we were talking about. I'm like, what the hell? That's nuts.
Yeah, that's insane. So I'm definitely hyped for those games. Obviously, Ninja Theory has... they have 2 games in the works with Hellblade and Project Mara, their horror game. You know, obviously Everwild with Fable. You got Turn 10 with not Fable, Everwild with Rare. You have Fable with Playground Games, and obviously Playground is also going to be working on Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, I would expect it to change at this point, but honestly, if it's Horizon 5, who cares? Like that franchise is so good.
Really hope Horizon 5's in Tokyo. I just want to drift. I just want to drift so bad all through Tokyo.
I've said the dream to you on the show before, right? You start at the top of a mountain and you drift all the way down the mountains, and then you drive all the way through the Japanese countryside into Tokyo, into Shibuya. That would be sick.
Amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. And then obviously you got Turn 10 working on their new motorsport. You got what is they called? What is that studio
Undead
called?
Labs.
Undead Labs working on State of Decay 3. And that's supposed to be changing up their direction. And then you have Double Fine, which has Psychonauts 2, which is going to be multiplayer, but they also going to have some new titles. And I feel like Double Fine is a studio you want to give like the reboot to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, and I mean, like, remember when they showed that Psychonauts 2 thing, and they announced that Jack Black was writing that song for Psychonauts 2. Jack Black was the main character of a Double Fine game called Brutal Legend.
Right.
Tim Schafer and Jack Black in the same room, and I think in that video, Jack Black is wearing a Brutal Legend shirt. Now, I
Is
think
that-
EA has the rights to that, but Microsoft could always go, hey, I mean, EA plays a part of Game Pass Ultimate now. There's a relationship there. Go to them and be like, hey, can we get this?
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about with Game Pass, which is our next topic, Game Pass EA Access. But finishing up this particular topic though, yeah, man, I just think that Microsoft put themselves in prime position going to the next generation to really not be not be in the hole they put themselves in this generation.
Yeah.
You know, they really have the ball rolling. They got the studios. I would expect them to buy at least one more studio.
Yeah,
probably. I expect them to buy at least one more studio, and they got these things going in rotation, and these games are just going to be coming out.
Big games, medium games, small games, all the types of A's.
Exactly.
You're gonna get a game you can beat in 6 hours one week. You're gonna get a 400-hour RPG the next week.
Right.
Like that's
why
the value proposition is just a lot.
Right. And that's why I find it disappointing when people feel like Game Pass holds the development quality of games back. That makes no sense.
If they're owned by Microsoft, and these rumors of like what it was I think it was Matt Booty went to Obsidian. It was the story, and he talked to them and everything, and they were like, do you want to see what we're working on? And he was like, no. And they were like, what are you talking about? And he was like, if I see it and react to it, then you guys are going to change it and think I don't like something about it, even if I say nothing. So I'm going to let you guys make what you want to make, because that's what we want you to do, is be yourselves.
Right.
And like, yeah, we've talked on this show before about like, well, that's how they knew that God of War was trash and needed to be redone, so it's the game of the generation. But I would rather have the developers straight up vision, and then when they say, hey, the game is done, the game is close to done, then Microsoft QA people come in and make sure things are fixed and polished and work and everything. Then, you know, someone, because that's the Microsoft people didn't like last generation, like Gen 7. Those are ones, the corporate overlords that have Microsoft employees sitting in game offices telling people, you can't do this, you can't do that. They're shutting down studios left and right. That's what we don't want.
Yeah, y'all missed quite a few games though, but
yeah, we missed a lot. We definitely
Obsidian got some other stuff in the work too that's different.
Yeah, they have another game in the works. Yeah,
Compulsion Games got a AAA game that
I'm excited for,
that they're working on too, and a lot of people that's over there with Compulsion worked on BioShock. Rare has multiple. Well, I would say this: all of these studios have multiple titles in development.
Yang said
they have some even having like 2, 3, 4 teams working on different stuff right now. So, like Cal said, 2022 should be a great year. Sony has an awesome 21, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and God of War in the same year. I'm also hearing Silent Hill and a Metal Gear Solid remake.
Yeah,
I think
for PlayStation. The Silent Hill thing has some validity to it. The Metal Gear Solid thing, I heard that in
Metal Gear Solid
remake of Metal Gear Solid.
That would be mad, but who would make it though?
Blue Point?
No, because Blue Point is already working on Demon Souls.
Yeah, but Demon Souls is done, brother. It comes out in 2 months.
And there was a Bloodborne remake that just got out.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, but
Metal Gear, damn it.
Metal Gear,
the Metal Gear Solid 1 remake I heard in I was told in confidence, but shit, fuck it.
I remember back in 1996, and this is how vivid this is to me. Walking through Green Acres Mall in Valley Stream, Long Island, because I had just moved to Queens. I had what did I have at the time? I had a Super Nintendo. I'll never forget. I had a Super Nintendo. I didn't even know PlayStation existed at the time. And I still this was 96. I still had Super Nintendo. This was crazy. So I'm walking through the mall and there's an electronic boutique. This is like the first time I've really seen a video game store. Where I was living at the time before I moved to the suburbs, I lived in the projects, and we ain't have no goddamn electronic boutiques in the projects. So, we have that. So this is like I'm in the suburbs now. I'm moving to a house. I'm in this mall. I'm walking by, and there's a screen on TV, and I'm watching this cutscene. Now, understand, I've only ever played Super Nintendo games, bro. When that cutscene of Snake in a submarine getting shot out into the water and the credits are rolling, that is the most incredible thing I had ever seen in my life in a video game. I literally thought that was a real movie.
Yeah.
He gets out of the torpedo. He's taking off his wetsuit, putting on his gear, going up the elevator, the smoke coming out of his mouth. You want to talk about impressive for a 32-bit game on the PlayStation? Bruh.
Have you ever seen when they remade that cutscene in Unreal Engine 4 in the last couple of years?
I didn't. But at that time,
that was crazy.
My mind. And then when I played it, oh my God.
I played Metal Gear Solid with my cousin. Like my cousin, and his father, we used to sit in the front room with the Super Nintendo and in the PlayStation 1. We just used to play games together and stuff like that. In this case, hold on, I'm doing something, baby. Back in the day, you didn't have internet, so you all got in the room together. Even if one player was playing, even if it was a single player game, everybody in the room was interacting, trying to all beat the game. But do this, or you pass the controller around if you got to a spot that you couldn't. You would try to see if somebody else can be, and that's how we played Metal Gear Solid. And we beat the game. And that last boss at the end with that big old mech.
Yeah.
At the end, it was frustrating, but it was so fulfilling when we got past it. Sam. I heard that
that
too,
remake.
Okay, I have a complaint.
I heard that too. That Blue Point is now a part of the PlayStation family.
Yeah, I don't. Apparently, one person from Sony band congratulated them at being part of the
that's smart. That's smart.
That's the same way they did with Insomniac before the acquisition was announced.
I mean,
there was a tweet that came out that said they was a part of the PlayStation family.
Yeah,
the acquisition came out. Yeah,
that's smart for them. That's a bummer though for like everyone else, because after seeing Demon Souls, I thought to myself, like, why isn't Xbox calling these guys up to have them remake like Crimson Skies or Mecha Assault?
I mean,
what are they doing?
They're the masters at remakes.
Yeah,
they look. I don't know no other studio in the industry right now that can get a title and do what they do to it and keep the core essence of that game without taking away from it. They're an incredible studio.
Yeah,
and they've been working with Sony for so long. It just makes sense, you know.
It makes sense.
It does. They've only really done Sony remasters for the last probably 6-7 years. I wonder if now they're part of the Sony family. If that's true, will the remakes maybe slow down and maybe they'll try some of their own things?
I actually want them to stay making remakes. I want them to remake Legend of Dragoon. I really need it in my soul.
That's something that they should do. Absolutely.
I think
either that or just make a new JRPG. I want Sony to stop relying on third-party developers. I want them to make their own JRPG.
I say this all the time. PlayStation 2 to me had one of the greatest libraries in the history of video games.
Yes,
it's. I think people and people mix things up a lot because they're like, Xbox came out and PlayStation 2 still killed it. There's a lot of factors to why that happened. It wasn't just they launched at the same time PlayStation 2 killed it. That's not what happened. The console, both Xbox and GameCube, came out a year later. Dreamcast had died, and literally Sony snatched up every publisher you could think of. So every game that didn't release on Xbox and Nintendo only had one platform to release on, which was the PS2, and they got
Enix was gone. EA wasn't there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So Xbox didn't have none of that though.
Yeah, they didn't have.
They still had a nice lineup though.
DVDs natively,
right? Yep. And so PlayStation 2 was an incredible platform because it had so many amazing games because everybody was on it. Like whether you liked it or not, whether it was shovelware or not, you were getting gems left and right on the PS2. So it was an incredible platform. So I do understand a lot of people who look at that platform, and that's exactly why it sold so amazingly well and why the Xbox didn't at the time. And it also was an industry that was dominated by Japan. at the time as well.
Yep.
Before 2000s hit and the western side of the world started to
Japan
take
was
over.
the biggest game.
Yeah, they were the biggest, exactly. So it was definitely a different time and a different era. And now you can see some of those things start to change a little bit. You know, obviously Japan is starting to get back in the groove of things, and they're starting to make some noise again. But yeah, no, I would love for them to remake Dragon Quest. You know, one of my favorite games of all time. My top 3. Now that Witcher 3 is in my top 3, is Chrono Trigger. So I would love any platform that remakes Chrono Trigger. I'm in. Like it doesn't. Nintendo could be like, oh, we're making a Chrono Trigger. I'm buying a Switch. Like that's how serious I am about Chrono Trigger. I love that franchise. I love that game. And if anybody decides to remake that game, I am in 100%. But yeah, man. At the end of the day, I think that between all these platforms, the no generations thing sucks. Obviously, we would love for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X to have a lot of games that takes advantage of the hardware immediately, and we can start seeing those things. But the reality of it is money talks, and it's just too much money between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 to leave behind going into next generation.
So it seems,
Look, man, you're not gonna start seeing these hardware, the systems do anything until another year or two out. Developers need time.
Exactly.
Tools are still being optimized for these systems. So you're gonna have to give it time before we can really see what these systems is capable of doing. But in terms of this cross-gen, we've been dealing with this since for every generation. You know, you have to rely on your previous your previous fan base from the current console until you can move everybody over to the new hardware. Other than that, you got to rely on the Xbox Ones and the PlayStation 4 fan base until you move everybody over. So you're going to see a lot of cross-gen games. Now, it's going to be a while before we see what this hardware can do. Because I'm telling you, Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man, that is the least of what these systems hit. Believe that ain't nothing compared to when developers really get a hold of these systems. So if you think these little launch titles is doing something that you're excited about, wait till these developers get a hold of the damn dev kit.
Give it 3 years.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
We'll see what they can really do.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. Game Pass has become incredible.
I'm so proud of Game Pass.
Game Pass just continues to keep on giving. Here's what's amazing about Game Pass. Sony came out and said that some of the games are going to be $70.
Oh man.
And Madden going into next gen, I believe, is $70. Like, was it EA or Rockstar or somebody has some game that's $70? 2K is going to be $70. There's a possibility that a lot of games next generation will be $70.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but Game Pass is looking real good right about now.
Say it again.
Game Pass is starting to look really sexy.
Well,
now. And I just feel like Microsoft is doing it right. EA Access is officially a part of Game Pass. I don't know where this deal came from.
Oh man.
I don't know how they got it done. I've always said that if it was somehow Microsoft was able to get sports games into Game Pass, that would be a huge get. My only issue is that because it's Vault games, it kind of sucks. But if they were able to convince EA to put Madden day and date in Game Pass, do you understand what that would do for Game Pass? FIFA day and date? Oh my God, it would blow things away. People would gravitate to Xbox like it's nothing. Like it is nothing because, you know, a lot of Madden players play MUT and a lot of FIFA players play FUT. So there's a lot of money invested into Madden. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have to buy the game, that's one step you don't have to spend money on. You can invest money into other things. So I just think that is really dope that they were able to get EA access into Game Pass at no extra cost. And it's funny because I was looking at EA sales recently and I didn't get a chance to play Star Wars Fallen Order. and they had it on sale for $36, but I held off. Then they had it on sale for $29, then they held off. Then I get the announcement that it's going to be that Game Pass has going to have EA access this winter. I'm like, yo, EA owns all the Star Wars games. That game is going to be an EA access at some point. I'll be able to play that game without even buying it. That's huge. That is huge to me. I don't have
Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass.
EA
Like,
Play.
bro, it is
X Cloud.
It is the platform that keeps on giving.
And guess what? The announcements ain't finished.
I heard that it's supposed to be a big get they got. I don't know.
The announcements ain't done.
For like 5 months.
The announcements are not done. I'm telling you, Game Pass is gonna get even better, bro. Like this is freaking incredible, bro. And I think Sony want to do it, but financially they not able to do it. I don't think they can take that initial, because when Game Pass first started, believe me, Microsoft was taking a loss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as a company, they was able to take those losses.
Right.
In order to get to, to a number where they can start either breaking even or even making profits on it.
Right.
For Sony, it's not sustainable because I think financially they don't have the finances to sustain it for that amount of time. You know what I'm saying? I do think the PS collection is like a test bed or some form of it.
That's a really good deal, though. That PS collection.
Yeah, maybe they want to see how it plays out and see how many people they attract, especially next generation, to their new services. But yeah, man, bro, I was talking about this the other day. Look, a lot of games are going to go $70. I mean, they want $70 for Destruction Derby. What? look, I'm just saying, a lot of games for to go $70. And I was looking at Game Pass and Microsoft allowing their first party studio games to be there day and date. And I said, I'm good. I said, even if I want to go spend $70 on a third party game, I have extra funding to do so for the fact that I invest in Game Pass and I don't have to worry about spending $70 for Microsoft first party game.
Right.
That's a lot of money. $70 for a controller now. $70 for a game.
Mm-hmm.
2 games, man, that's a lot of money. You're over $300-$400 damn near already. You just 2 games and a controller in,
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna affect a lot of people when you start seeing these major titles like Fable, The Foul, Forza, all these big AAA titles that Microsoft is working on. When they start hitting those, when they start hitting Game Pass, or you start getting games like the Maddens and the Star Warses and whatever other games that EA come out with, the Battlefields and stuff like that. When those start hitting the vault, and you don't have to pay $70 for that, and you just in that subscription plan, like it's really going to start affecting the platform in a way where people are truly going to appreciate what Game Pass is offering as these prices begin to basically, I guess you could say, hit their natural order, because we haven't paid or had a change in pricing or games for like more than a decade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really important that Microsoft continues to push Game Pass, and I really think the subs are going to be huge going forward and going into next generation. And again, it's only going to get better as they add content. That's the most important thing. People talk about games and how important games is. You cannot sell a subscription without great content. You just can't. I literally was watching. What was I watching recently? I just subscribed to HBO Max.
Good choice, yeah.
And started watching Lovecraft Country. Incredible show.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible show. If you ever seen Lovecraft Country, please watch it. It is so good. And then I started watching Raised by Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, Ridley Scott, you on to something here. So I'm really impressed. But it's the content that got me to subscribe to that. Otherwise, I would have ignored it. I would have never subscribed to it if those 2 shows wasn't in there. And I know they have some of the DC content like Doom Patrol and stuff like that, but I really didn't have much interest in that. But those 2 shows got me to subscribe. Same thing with Netflix. There's certain shows on Netflix that just keep me coming back. Actually, recently they just dropped Dragon's Dogma anime is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I was watching that, which is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? You already know the Castlevania joint is on there. They have the show The Last Kingdom, which I love, about Vikings. That's on there. So there's a lot of shows.
Things on Netflix, man.
Yeah, Stranger Things.
Every time a new season of that comes up, their subscriptions triple, quadruple. You know?
Yeah. So it's like when you have content, and the content is good and is rated well and the quality is there, you subscribe. And that's what Microsoft has to continue to do. They have to continue to put high quality games in there, and it has to be consistent. You know, if you're able to put like both Cam and Post have said, if you're able to put, here's a small indie game, here's a little AA title to hold you down for 3 months. Here's our big AAA title for the spring. Here's our big AAA title for the fall. Here's our big AAA title for Christmas. Yo, if you're able to do that for the next 5 to 6 years, you are straight. You know what I'm saying? You are in the money. You are making money, and your subs are exploding and blowing up, and that's really important for Microsoft to sustain profitability and to continue to be a success in this industry.
And over the next year, probably, right? What's the state of America right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, COVID-19.
COVID-19. We got fires out here in California. Unemployment is the highest it's been since 2010, right? People don't have a ton of money. You tell people they got to spend $500 and then $70 to get Demon Souls. That's a lot of money. In California, you pay 10% tax on certain purchases. I think it's like around 10%. So that PlayStation 5 turns into $550, and a $70 game tax on that's going to be almost $80.
Yeah,
that's almost $650. You buy a $300, $30 added onto that with tax, Xbox Series S, and then $15 for Game Pass every month. That's half the price of one system with one game for one system and 250 games, plus all of the first-party titles that are going to be coming out and big drops of games regularly, just as like a proposition for people that are struggling with bills right now. If your kid says, I want a new video game system for Christmas, you're probably going to get them the one that's not going to ruin the family financials, right? Like if you're an average American family right now, the Xbox Series S with Game Pass, once you come to GameStop and I tell you about that, then you go, well, we're not going to buy them the $500 system with two $70 games. If there's 200 games to play on that $15 a month service, hell yeah, that's way cheaper.
Or the great thing about Microsoft is they give you those options with that all access for $35.
I totally forgot. Exactly. Oh my god.
No money down.
No money.
No annual interest or none of that.
Imagine paying $35 and walking out with an Xbox Series X same day.
Don't they take a loss on that? Because they give you like 24 months of Game Pass Ultimate and then the system. Don't they take it's like an $80 loss or something on that?
There's no interest on it. For 2 years, for 24 months, it adds up to like $840, but you pay for the console in 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate, which gives you access to Game Pass on PC, Game Pass on console, xCloud, and Xbox Live,
and EA Play and Gold. Yeah, so like
yeah, all of that, and that's $25 a month for the S system.
See, exactly. If you're not trying to save up $550 plus $70, $140 or more for a couple games, you spend $25 a month. You're in next gen with hundreds of games. Not hundreds, but like I think I counted last night. It's like 250 games on Game Pass right now, or something like that. Like 200.
I think we're in a financial climate where it's necessity versus wants.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that gaming is not a necessity. But given in this climate where kids are home a lot, they're not in school, it's a want thing too, because they need things to keep them distracted.
Exactly.
I need things to keep my children distracted. I don't want them going out, given that this quarantine is... I'm still quarantined, by the way.
Oh, me too.
I'm still quarantined. I'm not playing with this. I'm still
I don't know why people are.
I ain't playing with... So I don't want my... I want my kids going out and quarantine. I live in Chicago. I live one of the worst neighborhoods in Chicago. They need to be playing Call of Duty because they go outside, they're gonna be facing Call of Duty in real life.
You ain't never lied.
But so it's a necessity versus wants. I want to be able to cover my necessity terms as bills, car payment, and things like that, but still be able to get them things as the holidays roll in and as birthdays comes and goes. So from a financial perspective, you kind of manage your money to see where you're at. And what the things they want to see if you're able to get them. And this Xbox All Access is going to be a lifesaver to a lot of soccer moms or moms that want to get their kids something, knowing they're in a financial predicament where they can't do too much. But this will allow them to do just enough. And $25 a month versus that's outright $300 or $500 is a great thing. And then you got them people out there with these high egos saying, hey, if you can't pay for a $300 system or a $500 system, then you shouldn't be buying again.
That's such an elitist mentality. I hate that.
Everybody are not in the same situations as everybody else. There's some people out here that's really, really struggling, and that really need financial help. So this will help a lot of people. Now, whether you could buy it or not, I don't care. Whether you want to use this broke people mentality, everybody, I don't care. As long as Microsoft established a financial position to where everybody can get access to their system, even if they're struggling a little bit with their finances, you're still able to do some maneuvering with your finances to pay $25 or $30, $35, and you get a lot that comes with it.
Right.
And thank you for speaking on that as a family man, a father, because like I'm a 20-something. I own thousands of games. I was telling Caraba last night I own too many damn video games. And I only have to look out for myself, right? You know, someone who has kids, you have to think. For Christmas, I got to think about who am I dating, and then mom and dad, right? Like,
right.
When you're a father, you got to go. Okay, he wants this, she wants that, she wants that. What does the wife want, right? Like, you speaking on that was important because you understand far better than I do, who brought it up, what that's like and how important it is that they have these options, right?
Yeah,
like,
and even if I don't decide to give them the Series S or anything like that, or even the PS5 digital, cross-gen comes into play. Hey, you can still keep your systems for now. Because my kids, they play totally different type of game. They be on Roblox a lot. And
they love Roblox. I don't know what the hell is up with Roblox.
They got these Amazon tablets. One be on the Xbox. I had this the one that's in the PlayStation 4 Pro in their room. My daughter, which is one of my twins, she's 12. She goes to her mother's house. I take over her mother's house. She sees her mother, and next thing I know, she's walking out of the house with another Xbox One S. Okay, she brings it back to my house because they staying with me. And next thing I know, they're bringing a PS4 Pro. They're bringing a PS4 Pro out of the room. They sit it on my desk in my cable, and they go back in the room. There we got the other one. That's
wow.
So now my son, he's on. So they got two 1S's in the room. My son, he's on one playing Fortnite and Call of Duty. And then my other ones, one of them is on the 1S playing Roblox. The other two is on the tablets. The other one is on my phone. They all running Roblox sitting in the same.
Yeah. And they put that other Xbox in there. They put that other Xbox in there. Roblox isn't on any console but Xbox.
Exactly.
So that's an exclusive that people overlook. It's crazy.
Hey, when they book it, I say, "What you doing?" They say, "We don't need this day."
That's crazy.
But PlayStation doesn't have Roblox.
But that's what I'm saying. And see, that's the fun thing about Game Pass is that they be in there downloading all types of games that I wouldn't even think about playing, and they be enjoying them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you try to give your opinion saying Game Pass can be trash to you, that's your opinion. But Game Pass overall is a wide spectrum of games that cater to everybody.
Right.
And most people, when they judge Game Pass, they judge it with a one-track mind, and it's all about how they feel about the games they like. And since Game Pass probably don't have what they want on the games they like, then it's trash to everybody. No, it's trash to you because my kids in there having fun.
Right, they enjoy it. That's how my son
They
is. My
enjoy it
son,
right now, bro.
this kid plays Roblox like it's going out of style, bro.
Bro.
He be
Bro.
in these rooms. I don't know what's going on. I
Me
don't.
either.
I don't understand none of it, bro. Like I'm like, why is this guy dressed like a teddy bear? Why is he hitting you with a stick? Why is he chasing you? I don't understand what's going on. This room where he goes in, and it's nothing but giant, like fake Godzillas and King Kongs.
Exactly.
And he's just in there. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what is happening in this game?
They
And
hop in
he's
their
having a
cars, they
blast,
go in other
bro.
people's houses and stuff. What are you doing?
It's weird, bro. Roblox is a weird.
Roblox
Roblox
is
is
super
like
weird.
the Twilight Zone of video games,
Yeah.
bro. It's
I'm
a
gonna tell you
weird game.
this right now. Roblox is weird, but if you find some of the like really weird shit on there, it's fun. Like it's they have clones for games on there. You can just straight up play Red Dead Redemption on Roblox. You
That's
can
just
just straight up
crazy.
play Battlefield 5 on Roblox, and it like functions. You know, like you reload. There's games that have active reload, like Gears of War and cover systems. There's Dead by Daylight clones where it's not a monster, it's a big banana. Like that. Like shit, if I was a little kid right now, I would never stop playing Roblox.
Roblox is. I'm telling you, it's a weird, and all the characters look weird. It's just like
They're
It's-
like not
it's
Lego
like
people.
the
but-
most bootleg Minecraft game ever, bro. It's so terrible, but the kids love it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I
They
sell
love that shit.
Roblox cards at GameStop every shift. There's 2-3 kids coming in going, give me $5 of Robux. And I'm like, okay, man. Like,
It's crazy stuff, man. It's definitely crazy stuff. But yeah, just finishing up this topic, Game Pass access or game access is what I call it. Is really cool, man. And I look forward to playing Madden in the future and some of the games and stuff like that, knowing that I no longer have to buy sports. I haven't bought a sports game in years anyway. So
nah, I had EA access all generation. I just went, yeah, they're gonna put Madden in the vault on Super Bowl Sunday, so I'll wait until then.
that's how I feel. I just wait till Madden hits and then I try it out then and there. And I heard this year's Madden was trash anyway, so I'm definitely not
Looks not
definitely
good. Yeah.
not buying it. Yeah.
Oh,
But
it's
anyway.
so buggy, man. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so
I'm gonna pass
buggy,
on
Madden's
man.
been getting worse and worse.
They
every
need to give the license up and get some
They did.
competition going, bro.
They did. 2K's making a non-simulation one, and now they got the rights to use the NFL Players Association, so they can use likenesses and names and everything.
Thank
I think they're
God.
gonna make that game, and it's gonna be like the NBA Jam,
Yeah,
kind of
like NFL Street.
like a Blitz or Street. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the NFL is gonna be like, wow, people really like that, and they hate that Madden game. You know what? You guys make a simulation game. We don't care. And then it's EA is gonna have to step.
EA
in.
needs the competition, bro.
Yes, they do.
It's become so stagnant. They need the competition. All right. Let's hop into our last topic. We've been rocking out for almost 2 hours, man. But we had so much to discuss. I had a lot of fun on tonight's show.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it was definitely a great one. Next gen games. So as of right now, Sony's got a really great lineup when it comes to what they're showing with their with the PS5. A lot of people are impressed with it. You got my man Miles Morales, looks really good out there. Even if he even if the game is, it kind of sucks. I don't like the pricing for it. I heard that the game is what, $49.99 as a standalone, and then $79.99 for the ultimate, which gives you the original Spider-Man along with it. But here's the problem. Why isn't Sony allowing free upgrades with this? Karab, are you upset about this?
I actually I disagree with this in the sense of I am not a fan of this. It's same thing with controls. It's the same issue all over again, and it shouldn't happen. But again, money talk and people. It's the same thing with Devil May Cry 5. It's a mindfuck situation. My bad. But
No, it's all
it-
good. No,
it-
I
it-
understand what you're saying.
It is painful to see this because this is what gaming is not trying. It become This is why I was against the $10 raising point for next gen
Mhm.
in the beginning with, because you give them a mile and they take an arm, and we're seeing
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah, it
Um,
sucks.
That $10 increase. Remember when we went from if we went from PS2 to PS3, there was a $10 increase. Went from $50 to $60, and everyone was like, okay, yeah. And then everyone expected from 60 to 70 from PS3 to PS4, and that didn't happen because they had found other avenues to further monetize the games.
Right.
And we were sold throughout that whole time at the end of last generation throughout this generation. Oh no, things like day one DLC and on disc DLC and season passes and cosmetics and things like that, they're good because they won't make the price of the game go up. Cool, I guess. If you don't want to buy them, don't. You buy the game, you don't get all the content. If there's day one DLC, maybe you don't need the packs that come out, the mission packs that come out at the end of Far Cry 5. That's up to you, the consumer. Whatever. The game is still $60. So now we're going into the next generation, and we're going from 60 to 70. Now that the publishers have gotten comfortable with selling you microtransactions, selling us microtransactions, and season passes and day one DLC and Fortnite skins and Apex coins and all this other stuff. Now the price is going up. Are those things going to go away? Hell no, man.
No.
Those things are here to stay.
Mhm.
And the thing that I hate seeing is, well, it's good that it's going up because the price of games are going up. So the production costs are like the price to make a game, the production costs are going up. So we need to put more into it. Yeah, we do. That would be great if developers are seeing that. That'd be great if an animator's salary went from $90,000 to $100,000. But that's not happening. Mm-hmm. It's just being pocketed at the top level. They're just making a bunch of money so they can keep that money because they're a business and their point is to make money. Right. If we would have been adamant that we didn't want those things, which a lot of people were, and this wouldn't have happened like this, if we would have went to $70 at the beginning of this generation and we wouldn't have gotten all those things, maybe, yeah, then the money would have went to developers and been shared properly and the production costs would have done the natural thing that they did. But now they Trojan horsed all the microtransactions in and then charge an extra $10. So that's just what it's going to be. It should have been $70 for a game probably at the beginning of this generation, but it wasn't.
Then we would have went to $80 now.
Yeah, we would have been to 8, but maybe we wouldn't have gotten all the microtransactions. This is just business. It sucks. And the final thing I have to say on it is it makes Game Pass a ton more appealing to not have to pay $70 to play a new game from Microsoft. I just pay my $15 a month and I'm straight.
That's true. That is absolutely true. But regardless, I think obviously that practice sucks. It's funny because Microsoft has talked all generation or about the new generation about smart delivery, and everybody made jokes about it. And now it's like, smart delivery is a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
And it's good, and you should want smart delivery to happen.
Right, you should really want smart delivery, regardless if you want to say, oh, it's just like a talking point.
Yeah, it's a corporate buzzword, sure.
Yeah,
but
it's a buzzword. You want that to be realistic because nobody wants to pay for upgrades. This is insane, paying for upgrades. I don't understand this logic at all. I bought the game once. Why am I buying the game again? Mm-hmm. It's a scam. It's a hustle. I don't appreciate it at all. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm trying to make is that next generation games, lineups wise, I think PlayStation has really, really good launch lineup. Miles Morales, Sackboy. What is it, Karaba?
Best lineup ever. It is legit their best lineup ever.
Hey, it's only on PS4.
Yeah. It is.
Right?
Sell me on it. Sell me on it, Karaba.
Okay,
what they got?
So Miles Morales, Spider-Man. You have Demon Souls.
Oh yeah.
You have what's called
you got Sackboy.
You have Sackboy.
Oh yeah, Destruction All Stars, right?
Destruction All Stars.
Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Destruction All Stars,
and you have. I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not, but Bugsnax is also in it.
Bugsnax.
And not about, but the other game. The other game, the one.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank. Is Ratchet and Clank a launch title?
No.
A launch window is after 6 months. And you have another game called the one Trespasser, I think. The one with
Returnal?
No. Returnal is not a launch title.
It's not a launch. Okay.
not so far I know, but there's one game that was showcased during the PlayStation Now event. Not the previous, not the one from last night, but a different one where you are.
Was it Jet
It's, a
the
in, it's, an,
Foreshore?
it's an indie game where you're running and you're shooting with your bow and arrow.
Oh, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits?
No, 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 no. Kenna,
okay,
Kenna
I know-
is actually,
I know which one you're talking about. I do not remember the name of it.
Kenna is actually delayed till
Yeah,
21.
that's right. Yep, my bad. I know which one
So-
you're talking about, though.
And yes, it seems that launch titles, but I'm talking launch window as a whole for PlayStation is their best lineup, especially when you add in the next year is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 and God of War. If they choose to keep them both at the same time, that's insane.
Hmm.
Oh, and also the PlayStation 5 come with Astrobot.
Oh yeah, Astrobot as well. That's right. I'm trying to find.
I just put a thing that compares them in the chat.
Okay, let me see.
I guess I should say the DM.
Yeah, he sent
Oh,
it.
there we
yeah.
go. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Let me throw this up on screen real quick.
That was I think that was Shinobi who put that together, which
yeah,
I'm pretty sure Destruction All Stars is a game from his studio, from what I've heard. So
yeah. Okay, so Spider-Man, Sackboy, Demon Souls, Destruction All Stars, Playroom, Godfall. I forgot about Godfall.
I forgot about Fall. Yeah.
easy to forget about. Oh, I'm just messing around.
No, the last trailer looked amazing. It
And,
looked better and better.
Madden 21, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Call of Duty, Watch Dogs Legion, NBA 2K, Devil May Cry 5. Oh man, it's looking kind of light on the Xbox side. Gears
Sure is.
Tactics, Yakuza Like a Dragon, The Falconer, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Destiny 2. No, okay, so all those games are the same.
Yeah.
I expected, I could have sworn. So
This
none of
is
the
just-
other
this is
titles.
just so far, this is not final. There could be more added on each side, obviously.
Microsoft
Yeah.
needs another show.
Yes, they need another show, and they need to show what they need to do is they need to have another show, and at least at the minimum say, all right, we helped out, and the medium will be ready on November 10th. That's what they need to do.
Medium needs to launch November 10th. Corvus needs to launch November
Corvus
10th
is
as
next
well.
year. They already said that's 2021.
Oh my god, I wanted to play that game so bad. What about what's that Cyberpunk RPG Diablo RPG?
The Ascent, yeah, I thought that was supposed to be launch day, but I haven't seen anyone listed as launch day so far.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that game, man. I want to play that game too. I don't know, man. This is you know, Sony, right? Hey, at first I was like, Harry was saying that PlayStation had a better launch lineup, and looking at it, they do.
I don't think it's their best launch lineup ever, but it's,
I don't know if it's their best launch lineup ever though.
if you go like I'm gonna go way back. If you go and look at that PS1 launch lineup, every single game that came out is good. Every single game that came out is a game you can go back to and be like, this is fun. But like that little square up there at the top on PS5, Miles Morales, Sackboy Adventure, Destruction All Stars, Demon Souls, and then underneath Destruction All Stars is Astro's Playroom. That's 5 and then Godfall. If you're really into that, if you want to try that, it's an exclusive. You're gonna be down for the team. That's 6 games you could probably spend a lot of time with.
Yeah. And this is why Microsoft is heavily relying on backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, man.
Updating the
Microsoft
Horizon.
needs they need a major deal. I don't know if there's a third-party game out there that no one's talked about yet that's under wraps that they're holding on to. But Microsoft definitely needs another stream. They need another show. I feel like they should have a show Monday before Thursday's pre-order date.
In the next couple of days, they should have a show.
Yeah, they should just throw a show up there. They should show us what Fable looks like, a snippet. They should show us something like whatever whatever my God, the initiative is working on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't even have to show gameplay. You can pull a God of War, put some
God of War,
goddamn
you show a
symbols
title
up.
card.
That's what I'm saying.
Prime 4 did it too. People are stoked for both those games. Just show a title card.
That's what I'm saying. Do a title card like you did Fable title card, and I'll be happy with that. But they gotta show something else, man. You just can't go into next generation with PlayStation sort of having all the buzz right now. Don't get me wrong, Xbox got some pull, they got some push. Like right now, if I could say anything, I would say that Xbox is in a positive light. Yes. They're not in a negative light right now, which is good for them and good for their direction going into next generation. But PlayStation is in a better position because of their lineup and because of what they're going to be presenting at launch. And then obviously you have the $399 console, which is obviously always the key point for purchasing any next generation console. And that's good because, again, the PlayStation, the digital version of the PlayStation is exactly the same as the disc version of the PlayStation, just $100 cheaper. Mm-hmm. So you're not losing anything when it comes to power. And that's a great key point for people who want to, still get a next gen console and have reasonable power. Whereas the S is really a budget console for people entry level, for the casuals, and obviously the X is for the hardcore or people who want to invest in a premium platform for Xbox. So there's a huge difference between those two platforms, and it really favors PlayStation. It really does, especially with this lineup. Microsoft, I think they got to make some move. They got to make a move.
If you add Halo to that chart on the right there, that looks pretty attractive too.
Yeah,
right?
No, if you add Halo to it and maybe Flight Sim, it becomes a lot better.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking all summer. I was like, they haven't said anything about Tell Me Why and Battletoads. They have to be holding that for the console launch. If that's Halo, Gears Tactics, Tetris Effect, Yakuza Like a Dragon, whatever, and the Falconeer, and then you add Tell Me Why, Battletoads,
that's
as good as the other side, if not maybe a little bit better. But you're not going to hold games that are ready. Like, you're going to get them out as fast as possible to turn profit.
Right. Yeah. So Halo not being there definitely hurts without question. Yeah. But they definitely need something else, especially when you share so many games. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally 5 of the games are on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it was last generation too. Last generation had each console had 2 games you could buy at retail, 2 or 3 games at retail that were exclusive, and then 5 downloadable games each about that. And then the other 30 games were Ubisoft, EA, 2K. That's just people love those third-party titles.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's always going to be there, right? Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I'm actually going to buy Call of Duty this year. I've passed on so many Call of Duties, but this one looks pretty good. I think I might cop this. Oh, normally I would get Battlefield, but I think I'm going to cop the new Call of Duty this year.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen a Battlefield game.
Yeah. It definitely been a minute, but I'm thinking about copping that new Call of Duty. I'm definitely getting Yakuza. That's going to be in Game Pass. So
yeah, if that's on Game Pass, I'm gonna skip that. But on the Xbox side, because I know Tetris is on Game Pass, on the Xbox side so far, I'm probably gonna get Falconeer because I know that's not on Game Pass, and then NBA 2K21. Because I like having a basketball game at the beginning of each generation. And then I want that Devil May Cry 5 DLC. But I think what they said is that it's a free upgrade, and the only thing you'll be missing is the Nero DLC. I don't know. I have to look into that. I don't really want to pay $60 for that game again.
I'm considering getting Ass Creed. I haven't. I skipped the last Assassin's Creed. I can't play too many Assassin's Creed back to back because they're so similar,
and there's so much.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I play Origins, but I skipped Odyssey, so I may get Valhalla.
Yeah, you might get launchitis.
Yeah,
I got launchitis with the Xbox One. I had every single exclusive for that system, and then after that, I was like, shit, is something coming? And then Titanfall came out, and I was like, oh, thank God.
I got my PlayStation 5 pre-order reserved on Amazon thanks to my man Post Up. So I'm probably going to get Spider-Man, and I probably get Godfall. I think I'm looking at that list right now. That would probably be the 2 games I would get.
Robert, is Godfall free?
Karaba, is Godfall free?
I remember it being said that it was a free-to-play game.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. What do you mean if it was free?
Like,
Yeah,
is it free to play?
I thought when they were talking about it like a year
buy
ago,
the game.
Oh, you got to buy the game.
You got to buy it. Oh, okay. I thought it
You
was
buy the game and then I don't think it have anything to return. Just buy the game and play.
Yeah, and it has no microtransactions, none of that. I remember saying that.
Yo, Destruction All Stars really should have been Twisted Metal.
Well, man, people don't love that Twisted Metal aesthetic anymore. You make it like remember when it got announced?
Why? I love Twisted Metal.
Yeah, but like there are a lot of people younger than us now, right? If you show them Twisted Metal, but like it looks like Fortnite, people are gonna flock to that.
Oh yeah.
Like there's some classic games on PlayStation that if they had, I would buy, like Jet Set Moto. Remember Jet Set Moto?
Oh man.
Oh, Jet Moto. Oh my God,
Wipeout.
that game was
Wipeout.
so good, bro. Yeah,
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Yeah.
I would definitely buy a PlayStation. They has some like up to date titles like that. That would be really
Get
cool. I mean, I'm still getting a PlayStation regardless, but I'm just
you
saying,
already. I was about to say so.
I
You
know.
already gone to
I
buy
already
it.
got it. Yeah.
Are you excited for that PlayStation Plus collection? How do you feel about that? Cal?
That to me, that's something I wanted to touch on. The PlayStation Plus collection is really good.
Yeah.
I don't know. The one thing I'll say is that Ghost of Tsushima wasn't in there yet.
No.
Yeah.
But that's one game that I want to play on the PlayStation 5. Like I'm definitely going to play Uncharted. I'm definitely going to play God of War. But I definitely want to play Ghost of Tsushima. That out of all the games, that's the game I want to play the most.
Because there's like no one I know where the PlayStation Plus collection would be good for someone buying a PlayStation 5 other than you. And what I mean by that is like PlayStation Plus collection, those are incredible games. Last of Us, God of War, Monster Hunter World. But like if you're an enthusiast, you've played those games, right? Raba has played those games. I'm assuming you have played the hell out of those games. That PlayStation Plus collection is good, and you're going to probably dip back in. But for someone like you, Cal, you didn't have a PlayStation 4 all generation. You're going to immediately have a big library of games. So it's good for a couple people, I think. But overall, I just think it's a really cool thing.
I mean, I think when I was looking at the list, I thought the list was dope. I'll never play Last of Us because I don't, I don't do horror.
Yeah.
I don't do nothing.
Not horror, though.
I know, but I told you, bro, I can't even play Final Fantasy 15 at night. That is a problem for me. So you can't expect me to play like I was having a conversation with my homeboy Will on Twitter, and he's like, "You play Demon Souls?" I'm like, I played Demon Souls on PlayStation 3, and I think I got to the part where you get to the blob monster, like the first boss or something like that, and then like I stopped playing after that. I just couldn't get into it because it was too slow. Then I played Demon Souls, and I couldn't get into it, And he's like, "Oh, you got to do this in the third." And I'm like, the reality of it is I would play Sekiro or like somebody told me that Jedi Fallen Order is very similar, like to a Dark Souls. And I'm like, I would play those two before I play Dark Souls or Demon Souls because of the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's
creepy,
scary.
right? Because it's creepy, it's dark. You got jump scares, you got monsters coming at you. That's just not my cup of tea. I just don't do shit.
Every time I play Bloodborne, I get startled. Like someone will pop out behind something. I'm like, fuck.
Like I've had friends trying to get me to play Alien Isolation for an entire generation. You know what I'm saying? I've had people bet me to play Alien Isolation.
That game is scary as hell.
Yeah, I'm never gonna play. I don't do any horror, anything spooky, anything.
You wouldn't watch the movie Alien either, right?
No. I'll watch Alien. You know what's crazy? Aliens is one of my favorite movies of all time.
The first one or the second one? Aliens.
The second one, Aliens, with the Colonial Marines.
I love that movie.
Love Aliens.
But the first one, I could watch that movie every second of my life. I don't know why.
That one is much scarier. Aliens is more action paced. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
The first one is a lot more creepy and a lot more dark, but that was a good one too. But like I love sci-fi. Like I'm a huge sci-fi fantasy martial arts nut. You know what I'm saying? Anime nut. I love anime. I love science fiction. I love fantasy. I watch anything with like medieval, like night. My wife like thinks I'm the biggest nerd in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like I love all that stuff. Like I could watch that all day.
You know, did you ever hear about how Obsidian was making an Alien RPG that got canceled last generation?
Nah. Wait, you talking about Obsidian's game from Xbox?
No. Before that, they were making a game called like Alien. Shit, it was like Alien Extinction or something like that, and it was gonna just straight up be like Mass Effect, but it's in the Alien universe, and you like.
I would have played that.
Yeah, I wish that they could, like, Microsoft could get together with Sega and like there are people inside Obsidian still interested in doing that, and they revive that for the Xbox, because I love Alien and I love Obsidian and I want to play. I love Mass Effect like that. I'll send you stuff on this game, dude. That game looked awesome.
I would have played that. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. Nice little Old Republic, like Western RPGs in general. I love Western RPGs. Yeah. So for me, I'm a huge fan of that, and that's why I was very glad Obsidian got bought when they did, because they did. Stay alive. Yeah, well, that and obviously they made some of my favorite franchises. So I was happy about that. But you know, I just think at the end of the day, Microsoft, and looking at these two lists, over the next year, as the games release, it'll definitely get better for Xbox.
Yeah.
It definitely will get better for Xbox. PlayStation, though, has some really great games, and in 2021 is going to be bonkers. You know what I'm saying? And I think they're going to get on a roll after that. But I think by 2022, maybe even 2021, because Halo should be ready by then, Microsoft should be on a roll as well.
I think by this time next year, we will be playing Halo or close to Halo. I think September.
Yeah. And, you know, don't forget that we have, again, like I've never played a Dragon Quest game before, so I'm very excited to play Dragon Quest. I can't wait to try out, you know, some of these RPGs that's come to Xbox. You know, like I would love for them to get Persona. Hopefully, Phil makes a move and he's able to somehow get Persona on Xbox from, I think, Atlas, right? Atlas makes Persona, right, Karaba?
Yes. Yeah, I doubt that will happen because Atlas and PlayStation came out and said that Persona exclusivity is a huge deal for them.
When did I remember this. Never mind. Yeah.
So what happened?
The Atlas said that being exclusive, or their relationship with PlayStation and like being exclusive on the PlayStation platform is important for them for the Persona series. Because like with Atlas, it's like Persona goes on PlayStation and Shin Megami Tensei goes on Nintendo.
Oh, I got you.
Those franchises, because they're technically the same franchise.
Microsoft better work with them and get their own franchise.
There was a Shin Megami Tensei game on Xbox in Japan in like 2003 or something, so maybe that didn't work out and they were like, forget these guys, but just show up with the Brinks truck. Who cares? They'll forget about that. Like,
that's what I be saying, bro. Cut the check.
Yeah,
that's my line to Phil. Yo, Phil, cut the check.
Persona, man, you would love that game.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely gonna play a lot of games that I missed on PlayStation this generation. Again, I don't hate PlayStation. I love PlayStation. I grew up on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? I just once I jumped to 360, it was over. Xbox Live really did it for me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep it real. Like Xbox Live, when you start making friends, and a lot of my guys, like I didn't have to leave home to go hang out with them. I was just like, what? This is incredible. And Xbox Live was just ahead of its time, especially compared to PS3. Because PS3, a lot of people didn't have headsets.
Exactly.
Like you could play online.
That's good.
Yeah, but it was Xbox had parties. You know what I'm saying? There was features on Xbox. Like I'll never forget Movie Party. I swear to God, I will die by that feature. I want that feature back so bad. I'm telling you, me and my homeboy watch an entire series of Bleach from start to finish in the Netflix party. Yes, bro, it was one of the greatest experiences we ever had. It was so fun. I wish they would bring that feature back.
And Xbox Live never got hacked and was never down for 26 days or whatever, right? Like
it got hacked, but it wasn't down. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, they never got like completely attacked and like emptied out where nobody could use the service.
No, not like that. No. But I remember I actually got hacked one time, and somebody used my credit card to buy like $70 worth of game Microsoft points.
Oh shit!
Damn.
Yeah. But I didn't get killed like some of the people on PlayStation. PlayStation was down for like 3 months.
Yeah, and people were buying houses and boats with people's credit cards.
it was
because
crazy.
they just bought some Call of Duty maps at some point.
Yeah,
Right?
the
Like,
PlayStation joint was nuts, bro. Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was definitely crazy. But anyway, yeah, man. So listen, I think that's gonna be it for tonight's show. We had a great conversation tonight. We caught up on a lot of topics, and I think both platforms going forward are really in prime position for this holiday season. I still believe, and I still think Microsoft really has put themselves in a position to be neck and neck with PlayStation or even overtake PlayStation in the US. And I'm saying that because listen, don't underestimate Xbox in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so popular.
It's very popular here. A lot of people love Xbox in the United States. I mean, it's so close when it comes to sales. I think PlayStation is like 26 million in the US, and Xbox is like 24 million. It's like 24 or 25 million. They're literally neck to neck. It's not a big gap between those two platforms. But everywhere else, the UK, Japan, France, Germany, especially Germany, in Japan, like Xbox just does not sell, and PlayStation sells in a lot of smaller countries. You know what I'm saying? Countries that that Microsoft just don't ship to. They're not even there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so I can see the gap continue to be large going into next generation. But if Microsoft can figure out a way with this $299 console to get in the homes of people who not only buy PlayStations, but the casual mom or pop, because the console is $299 and it's entry level for their children, I can see them really. I can really see the S really get them back in the race where they're maybe the most popular console in America again. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's going to take games.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take an approved first party, and it's going to take major like it's going to take the hardcore to move the casuals in a direction. And Microsoft has to do right with their PR. I think they have one of the most disastrous PRs in the industry. Is every time they take 2 steps forward, they put their foot in their mouth and take a step back. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's okay to be quiet. Yeah. Sometimes it's okay just to not say anything.
Sometimes they try to be over transparent.
Right. And I think that's where they went wrong with the whole, we don't need exclusives to sell, the Series X and all that stuff like that. That wasn't a good look.
And look, they said they were going to support the Xbox One for 1 to 2 years after the launch of the Series consoles, and everyone that I was on a show with, Twitter, they were like, dude, the Series console is pointless. Don't touch that thing. And I was like, I don't know. It seems fine. And PlayStation did the same thing. And the same people I'm seeing are silent or backing it up or saying things that I said about the Series console in like June, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes if you just don't say it, like Karaba said earlier, for your image, not for your relationship with your fan base, for your image, just don't say stuff.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just sit it out.
Exactly. All right. So listen, man, I want to thank everybody for coming through tonight. I truly appreciate the support. We had a lot of people pop in and rock with us on tonight's show after being gone for about 3 weeks. If you haven't heard, our other channel had got suspended and I guess deleted. So we're here on a new channel trying to recoup and rebuild our brand back up. So, if you're rocking with us, man, please hit the subscribe button. We truly appreciate the support. We're a show that really tries not to be biased, even though we talk a lot Xbox. We try to talk and cover everything. Mm-hmm. But we really do support good gaming and good conversations and debatable topics. Sometimes it can get heated. Sometimes it's just fun, laughing jokes, and sometimes it's nostalgic. But we always try to keep it real, and we always try to make sure that people are always engaged in the conversations that we're talking about here, and people understand what we're talking about, that it's from the heart, it's real, it's not some BS, some fanboy nonsense, anything like that. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, help us crack that 1,000 and get back to being one of the top shows out there that guys can listen to. We truly appreciate the support. Karaba, when's your next podcast?
Monday is going to be a shit show. Not shit show, but rather an entertainment. No.
Karaba
Because
about to be stressed out.
No. I'm actually mad at PlayStation. I've been calling them out non-stop about this issue. Because if they came out and said, we're going to... Miles Morales is PlayStation 4 and 5 cross-gen, I would have said, okay, sucks, but so be it.
It's fine. I mean,
But the lies, that's my biggest issue.
it's a lie by omission, right? It's not that they told you it's only on PlayStation 5. It's that they said Miles Morales is coming out.
They said we believe, but they said it. They literally said we believe in generation, and they shut on Xbox for acting like that, only for them to do this. That's my biggest issue.
You just gotta be able to sift through all that corporate talk, man. They will say things like that. Like, I'm not trying to say these companies are bad, but they have specific direction for PR of things to say. So you just gotta take everything as,
I'm actually done believing anybody, not you, but
I think PlayStation fans were just too caught up in the quality that Sony produced to not recognize that they're a corporate entity.
And
their business.
I always knew that they were a corporate entity, but I was never expecting them to be that such degree, because they have not showcased that when it comes to their games. Their games have always been on point, and I've been paying attention to what they're saying and so on. But this literally came out of left ear.
Gotcha. Cam, when's your next show?
Whenever we record CWFP, we're both busy. I'm in 6 classes this semester, and I'm working.
Man,
I'm doing this show.
Yeah,
I'm busy.
Hey, that's enough for me. As long as you're here, I'm happy.
Yeah. I'm gonna work on stuff. I haven't played Tell Me Why yet, but I think I'll try to play through those this weekend when I have free time. I've been playing Avengers. I don't want to write a single word about that game. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Gotcha. Post, you still there? I know Post put his mic on mute.
No, Post actually put out a tweet saying that he had to step down.
Okay.
So
Post is out. He'll probably I think he has what is his next gen? He's on Next Gen show. I think it's the multiplayer podcast or something like that. I think that comes on Sundays. You guys can check him out there. And again, you can check us out every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. You rock with us. I'm definitely going to try to get some developers on the show. I've been trying to do that for some time, and definitely going to see if we can get some more guests on the show to debate some topics between Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. As always, I love having debates and conversations. It's always good to have differing topics and conversations on the show, as always. And that's going to be it, man. So again, check us out next week, Thursday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And if you need to follow us, you can follow us at TIC_podcast. That's TIC_podcast. I'm always on talking crap about something with Microsoft or anything like that. So definitely rock with us there on Twitter. And on Facebook, it's the Inner Circle. It's Tick Games Network on Facebook if you want to follow any of our video game news whenever we put stuff out. So that's going to be it, man. We'll see you guys next week. We appreciate the support as always. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe. Keep your mask on.
Thank you.
And,
keep the mask on.
And love each other. Love each other, man. Really, really, look after one another, because this world is very cruel and it's crazy.
They're just video games, right?
Yeah, it's definitely crazy out there. All right. You guys have a good night. We are off this planet. Peace.
See ya.
Later.